Every weekend, I look forward to getting out there. It's a freedom like no other. It's part of who I am. If you ride, you know what I mean. That's why I insure with Shannon's. They get it. They share our passion and give us the features riders want, like limited use cover and multi-vehicle discounts. Shannon's insure all types of road bikes, not just classics. Whatever you ride, ride with Shannon's.
Call 134646 for a quote.
Rare Spares has over 50,000 product lines and releases over 500 new products every year. Your local Rare Spares distributor has what you need when you need it. And as the only restoration company officially backed by Holden and Ford, we take our part in your project very seriously. Rare Spares, more than just a part in your project.
Blake Delaney has to move out of the way.
Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to your Tuesday night broadcast here on SRW TV. Tonight we bring to you the simrigs.com V8 Supercars AM series. And thanks to Warren and Brown Tools, this is round 8 of season 3 2023. Only 2 rounds left to go, this one and next week, to find out who will be crowned our AMS champion. This is also our final top 10 this season, with the drivers battling it out in the racecraft qualifying session to see who will go through to the top 10 shootout to ultimately see who will take out our pole position and best lap tonight, thanks to racecraft. We are at Red Bull Ring. Some say it is their favourite, others absolutely do not like this track one bit. But I dare say the racing is going to be absolutely astounding, as it has been all season for our AMs. 4.28 kilometre track, and the temperature is quite high at 37 degrees Celsius. I am Nathan ShiBBy Howard, and joining me in the comms box tonight is our special guest who loves filling in for us, Mr. Tyler Sheaf. Not sure if he's finished his chicky nuggies yet, but I'm sure he will be back with us any minute. While we wait for him, let's have a quick look over our standings after round 7. Sitting in P1 at this present time is Darren Crosby from the M1 Racing Team on 794 points, trailing only just behind on 33, behind with 33 points the gap. Is Tim Nickel from Quantum Pecky's Performance Racing. His teammate Troy Sipple will sit just in behind him on 651 points in P3. Jace Douglas from LMR Esports on 625 points in P4. Joe Mahoney, last year's defending champion for Race on Oz, is sitting in P5. Rick Vigor for Angry Birds Racing is P6. Scott Weston for EWR and GMK Logistics, P7. Chris Barrage for M1 Racing Team in P8. Liam Tipping for JTIT Race on Oz, P9. Petar Pavlovich for Pacific Esports Racing in P10. We have a quick look just below him. Andrew Cowan, Performance Sim Racing, 527 to 537. Extremely close in the points between those two. Stephen Kennedy for M1 Racing is still not off the back of them as well. Actually, look from Kennedy up to Chris Burridge. There looks like there is going to be a fantastic battle over these last 2 rounds to see who does finish in those top 10 positions. Great drive from all the AM drivers this season. We hope you guys are ready for round 8 tonight. The guys are still in their warm-up / practice session right now, and we will be heading on into the racecraft qualifying session any minute.
It's good to see the boys out there tonight at Red Bull Ring. Like you said earlier, some people say it's your favourite. I wouldn't say this is my favourite, but I do love this track. So it's good to see the V8 Supercars out there tonight at Red Bull Ring.
I think this track brings on some really, really good racing.
Yeah, it definitely does. It's just such a unique track, and just it's a bit of everything. You've got the long straight, but you also got the twists and turns as well in the second sector as well. So these drivers, it's a good fast flowing track, and I love it. And just get a bit of skill of, if you keep your momentum up, you can be the quickest out there. But it'll be interesting to see who can capitalise on it tonight.
Well, mate, with the driving from the M1 Racing Team as well as the performance from the Pecky's Performance Racing Team, I think we're going to have some fantastic battles across the field for our 60-minute race here tonight after our top 10 shootout. Few drivers I'd like to see get into that top 10 shootout again. I'd really like to see Jace Douglas get himself up into another top 10 shootout. He's putting on a phenomenal drive this season. As well as Reese to go, it'd be great to see him jump up in there. Also would love to see our good friend Andrew Cowan get himself up into a top 10 shootout as well to wind up our final top 10 shootout for the season before we go into the championship round next week.
No, definitely good. I normally go for the underdogs for a top 10 shootout, especially with the last one of the season as well. No, some of the boys haven't had a chance yet. I hope they do get a bit of a sneaky bit of it. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see who can capitalise on the 25-minute qualifying.
Yeah, 25 minutes for a 60-minute race. And if we just have a look at the best times during practice, there is within a second and a half from P1 to 17th. So there's really not much in it between all the drivers. One small mistake can easily have you gobbled up by the rest of the field with over 20 drivers out here on track. Daniel Fritz tonight is our race steward. So thank you so much, Fritzy, for getting out there and doing that job for us. While we sit back in here, relax and enjoy the awesome racing that is the SimRigs V8 Supercars AM series. Next week, the championship round goes to Circuit Jerez for our 80-minute enduro race. Same time, same channel. Next week, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell to make sure you are with us when we go live next week for the championship round to crown our AMS champion. Said champion way too many times.
That'll be interesting. 80-minute enduro next week. Obviously, it just makes it a little bit different, you know. I've done a little bit of enduro races, normally an hour and a half tops. That's good enough for me. So it'll be interesting to see which boys out there that has a bit more stamina compared to others. You know, we might see, someone that's a little bit slower but a little bit more consistent might be able to, squeeze a really good result for next week. But qualifying's about to start.
Sure is, mate. We will be heading into our Racecraft qualifying session. A huge shout out to Racecraft for coming on board and helping us out all season with our qualifying session, fastest lap and pole position. We will now see Jace Douglas leading our AMs out of the pits for our second last race of this season, and what a season it has been. If anybody has missed any of our live broadcasts, all the replays are there on our YouTube. You can head on back there and watch any of the live broadcasts as a replay. If you want to go back and relive some of the awesome racing this season, please get on over there. Have a look. And if you also want to race with us, head to www.simracingworld.com.au, register as a driver, because we are just about to release the information for Season 4. And a huge shout out to all our drivers for all the support this season, as what we have been able to do is make Season 4 of 2023 free entry to all drivers. So spread the word. Sim Racing World is free entry to all drivers to any series you would like to race in. If not, sit back, relax and enjoy these broadcasts.
It's really good to see next season. I see a lot of drivers already putting their names for the GA86s and the V8 AMs, so obviously if you want a spot in the league, make sure you put it in ASAP, because they will probably fill up very quickly in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I think we're up to 17 drivers for the 86 series already. That Super Sprint series has been an absolute crowd favourite with the drivers. So I dare say the 86 season series might actually fill out first. Also the AMs for our V8 Supercars, I think they're up to about 15 drivers as well. G'day Simon Haynes, thanks for joining us this evening, mate. G'day chaps, and let's go indeed, mate, let's go. We are watching these lads finish their first out lap. Keeping an eye on Jace Douglas, as he will be the first to come across that line and start his lap. Or did I already miss that? Where is the start-finish line? Oh, there it is. I found it. Don't worry, stream. Yep. There was just a bunch of cars over the top of it, so keep an eye on those sectors down the bottom. Green sectors are personal best, so we're probably going to see a lot of those lighting up as they fly through. Jason Douglas will set the session purple. Oh, Darren Crosby takes it away from him straight away, though. So this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, Jason being out first obviously means you'll get the purple sectors first, but it'll be interesting to see which driver takes it away from him ASAP. As Jace coming around the last corner now, it'll be interesting to see what he's set for a benchmark out there on the field. Coming across the finish line now, I assume. P1. And Mark Horton stole it. And Keegan's...
Darren Crosby.
Didn't it?
Yeah, Darren Crosby took it away. It was very short-lived P1, but it is only the first lap. Now Lorne coming through on a really nice lap as well, putting himself up into P2. See a lot of greens. That timing table is going to light up as these times fly on in. Probably be the first couple of laps. It'll just keep swapping and changing as we go, and it'll settle down towards the halfway mark of this qualifying session. Tim Nicol has locked himself in a 130. We only saw 3 cars during practice hitting those 130, so Tim Nicol has done extremely well to knock one of those out within the first 2 laps of qualifying here. He's got to be pretty pumped with that.
That's a very, very quick lap out there, and I think I can almost safe to say that he's almost locked in for the top 10 shootout at the moment.
Oh, with a 130, mate, as I said, we only saw 4 in practice get that 130 time, so it'll be interesting to see where the benchmark lays at the moment, with Mark Peck sitting in provisional P10 with a 132.472. But Craig Healy is definitely not far off the back of him on a 132.503, so really nothing in it. A 10th here, a 10th there, and he will jump into that top 10. Rick Vigor.
Definitely there's a few boys out there trying to settle up time now and find shake up the top 10 a bit, but as you see, Troy Shipple just puts himself into P9, so he just knocked out Peck. But there's still a couple more that haven't put a time in, like Daly, Hutteray, Nelson as well, Havlik, so it's going to shuffle.
There is quite a few, yeah. Hodgkinson hasn't come out. Chris Burridge, Keegan Caldwell, Peter Pavlovich, yeah, Reese DeGoey. A few guys that haven't made it out of the pitch yet to set a lap. As we see Kennedy come flying through straight up into P2. Great time, and just before that, Darren Crosby had actually got himself up into P3, and so had Rick Vigor, so it was a bit of a domino effect there. Vigor made it, Crosby made it, then Kennedy made it, bumping everyone down. Sipple is now the benchmark for your top 10 shootout tonight. 131.858 is what we're looking for from some of these other drivers.
So good to be 1 second between first and 10th. If you're on board for Horton, 100% sure he's just starting his hot lap now.
Yeah, I believe he has. Right on board with the Warren and Brown Tools cockpit cam. See just what our drivers are dealing with here tonight out at the Red Bull Ring. This is quite a well-known track across the world. Oh, wow, that was like...
Yeah, I don't think that's the corner that he wanted. He had 2 slow cars coming on onto that corner.
He split them down the middle perfectly. No contact made. Great show of driving there for Horton.
Yeah, hopefully it hasn't impacted him too much out there. And as you see, he might be on track.
Would we like a third commentator in for tonight's race, Harry? Gosh, 3 people. That could get... Oh, and Lucky Horton is going to go off track there as we see Hatherday on a really good-looking lap as he don't know if that time actually registered. It did, but he didn't go any better. Travis Daly, who had a phenomenal drive in the Pro-Am Series, actually taking out the AM round win.
Yeah, got himself up to P12, but just not quick enough. Still a couple of tenths off P10 at the moment, so he's definitely going to be going back into the pit, refueling his car, and off he goes again.
Yeah, they treat this like a top 10 a lot of the time. Go out, get your, especially when you got 25 minutes, go out, get a warm-up lap in on as little fuel as possible, and then try and run the quickest out hot lap as possible, and then, yeah, restart again. Jace Douglas, Ray's dropped in saying, "G'day lads, looking for your call tonight. Go get him, Jay. Still half a second off the pace. He is on 2 personal bests right now. Looking to get himself a bit further up that table. Has got himself locked into a top 10 shootout right now, but still plenty of time on that clock counting down."
Yeah, just coming across the finish line now. It'll be interesting to see if that was the personal best. It was the personal best. That should put him up.
P2! Oh, and then knocked
no.
down instantly by Crosby.
Oh, gee, that is
Wow.
a terrific lap for both boys there.
And that's the second driver into the 130s. That is 3 laps in a row where we've seen the P2 and P3 change, and straight afterwards someone knock them further down. So Petar Pavlovich of Pacific Esports Racing is the benchmark now for our top 10 shootout, being a 131.730. Sipple is only just off that pace with a 131.858. So
If we jump on board with 014, he had a personal, the quickest first sector, personal second sector. It'll be interesting to see if he actually squeezed into the 30s. He improved, but just not enough. But still good though. P4, moving up on the field.
and we see Bruce White move up into P8 and not Pavlovich down into P11. So now Marty Hansen is your benchmark for that top 10 shootout. 2 drivers in the 130s on a 37-degree track here at Red Bull. It's going to be quite slicky out there. Travis Nielsen has just moved himself up into P17, so slowly gaining time and moving his way through the field.
I think it's going to be very difficult because you said 37 degrees. It's actually gone up 2 degrees, up to 39 now. So it's going to make it more and more difficult later on for these boys to try and actually improve their lap times. So they'll be throwing out the best lap they can possibly and might not be able to make the top 10 shootout.
That's going to be tough. Keegan Caldwell comes across the line, moves up to P18. Good start for him, finally getting a lap locked in now. Drivers are starting to settle down. Lawn on a personal best though. Mark Horton again is out there, just in behind Lawn, so this will be interesting. We want to keep an eye on Pavlovich and Sipple to see if they can squeeze a little bit more out, as we do see Sipple on a personal best. 17. He crossed the line. He has crossed the line, so I don't think he actually got a registered lap there. Lorne McKee will actually go better, will not move up the timing tower though.
Yeah, few boys are improving their sectors, but just not consistent across the board. So it's playing the devil's advocate at the moment. It's just the warmer track is destroying their personal best laps. You see Cowan in P7, which is obviously a good sight for him. Currently in the top 10 shootout, only halfway through though, qualifying. So we never know, something might happen. There's still a few drivers behind them that are pretty quick and yeah, yet to show their true pace out there.
Mark Penn.
Mark Peck just went up to P14.
Yeah, just jumped Healy. He was actually in Healy's spot. They just swapped places there. And he is riding the back of our league owner, Steven Sinkovich. To see him out there, he's been quite busy with real life, running the league. Hasn't had as much driving time as he would like, but I'm sure he's absolutely loving it being out there.
I'd be loving in the V8 Supercar out at the Red Bull Ring. I think he'll be enjoying it out there, and he'll be definitely learning from these boys because they're very, very quick.
Yeah, if you caught the broadcast last night, our replay broadcast of the Pro Am, there was multiple AM drivers battling in that top 10 against the pros. Jace Douglas came across the line. I didn't catch if that was the locked in time then. I don't believe it was. Still sitting in P3. Really, really good time for him. Rick Vigor is really not far off the pace though. There is absolutely nothing between Vigor and Douglas.
No, very tiny, but they're both in the top 10 shootout, so it'll be interesting to see if they both maintain it and see if they can get even closer. See, Hansen, he got knocked out from Sippel from the top 10, so he'll be definitely trying to gain some pace out there.
I'm looking at the times here, mate. Look at Hansen, Sippel and Horton. Or as we see Weston just do better and jump up into P13, but you just see how close Pavlovich, Hansen, Sippel and Horton all are in those times.
So tiny, so tiny.
Pavlovich making a return run, does have a personal best. Is it going to be enough though to move him? It's not. He will not actually improve on his own lap. Out he goes again for one more.
They've still got plenty of time left, so it's not like that they've got one lap to go, so you've got to keep their heads nice and cool and know that they've still got enough for 2 more laps to try and make the quickest lap time as possible.
As you said, as the temp is increasing, it's going to get harder and harder on their tyres. Seeing too much on the times down the bottom. Seeing if we have any movers or shakers. Rick Vigor is coming round for a lap. Let's ride on the nose cam with Rick Vigor and get a great view of the track this evening.
They're nice and quick, this man. Finished the first sector pretty well. I might be surprised to see that the top 2 drivers just gone back out on the track, so they believe that they can find a bit more pace, so it'll be interesting to see if Rick can make some pace as well.
Definitely keep an eye on Hansen in that bottom right, car number 11, just outside of the top 10 shootout behind Sybil, and on a personal best. Going to be interesting to see where Hansen falls in. Coming around the final corner now. Can he get another personal best? He won't get another one in. A 1:37.31.7. Not enough to get him into that top 10.
Very close. But I could see someone with a purple first sector, so...
That is Lorne McKee. High, sorry.
You've got a fair bit of pace to gain out there. You can still get a purple with the warmer temperatures. He comes across and goes up to P7.
And Horton as well. Mark Horton just jumped up to P4.
Jeez.
Slowly moving Cowan down the field. Sippel is still that benchmark for our final top 10 shootout this seasoning. Oh no. The amount of times I've said that this series.
Nothing wrong with a bit of seasoning on your food, mate.
I love a bit of seasoning with my V8s, buddy. Get that ethanol seasoned fuel in there, yeah?
Oh, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see who else can squeeze some quicker lap times out there. So it's possible that you can get faster, but it's a consistency of just not overcooking your tyres. As I just see, it just hit 40 degrees Celsius on track. So
ooh-wee.
Getting warm now.
Sure is, mate. It sure is. Tristo Yellen, thank you so much for joining us this seasoning. I said it again, this seasoning. Oh my gosh. Ah, wow. Evening, ladies and gentleys. Evening, mate, to yourself. Hope you're doing well out there. Thank you for joining us for our broadcast with Simrings.com V8 Supercars AM series. Let me know in the chat who you are all rooting for the championship. Too much happening. Keegan Caldwell on a personal best in sitting in P19. Not sure if that's going to move him up. It doesn't. Crosby pulled into the pits. I think maybe looking at the times the other drivers are putting in, Douglas is probably going to be one of the closest ones, but Jace has been in the pits a bit now. Might be quite comfortable with his time. It is a really good start to go into that top 10 shootout, and if you can knock a time out like that again, looking great for the grid.
Yeah, these boys are very, very quick. You know, they're slowly starting to squeeze closer and closer to P1, but with under 7 minutes to go, just approaching 6 minutes will be very tight for them. They might be able to squeeze 2 more laps, and that's it at this moment.
Yeah, as long as they get over that start-finish line before the time ends, they will get to run that last lap out. This is not like a sprint round where 15 minutes is up and that is end of qualifying. You will get that final lap if you come across that start-finish line. You see Mark Peck sitting down in P15. Really wanting to push a bit of extra speed out of those tyres, coming around the last corner now, down towards start-finish line. 2 personal best sectors. Is that going to be enough? It was an invalid lap. He did not get that time.
On that first sector.
Tristo Yelland loves a good seasoning. I'm so glad, mate, because you're probably going to hear me say that about 3 or 4 more times. Steven Sinkovich comes across the line with a personal best. Doesn't improve on his time, but is still sitting a very average. He's 133.7 and another 133.7. So he's keeping it very consistent is the word I was looking for. Sipple now as well. Personal best. Does improve on his own time. Does not move him above White though. A really good drive here in this qualifying session from Bruce White from LMR Esports.
I mean, even though the Sipple improved his lap time, I mean, considering how close all these boys are, it might actually make a difference, you know, just a couple of tenths, or not tenths, let's say a couple of hundred difference might make or break a top 10 shootout.
Mahoney, Joe Mahoney has finally made it out onto track. Will smash himself straight into the 10th spot with only 4 minutes left to go. Just edge Sipple out of their final top 10 shootout. Wow, oh wow. Mahoney flies through with the goods. There was another big movement there. Pavlovich. No, Healy moved up into 14th. Peck up into 16th. There's a lot of movement in that bottom half of the field. Mahoney must feel pretty good about that lap. Comes in.
I was keeping my eye on the time tracker, and he was just sitting around P18, so he's done a few laps, but just couldn't get a really good quick lap. So to see him all of a sudden pop up to the top 10, it looks like he's got his head around now on what to do at the track.
Jace Douglas is back out again as well. Already got a personal best in the first. Not much happening through the second sector. If he can squeeze out another personal best, he was 4 seconds slower than the best sector in the second sector. So not the greatest run that he was looking for. Doesn't improve. Still around that 131 though. So keeping it very consistent.
Yeah, it's good to see that Chase have really good pace tonight, and it'll be interesting to see whether or not he can maintain it in the top 10 shootout. I think 131.1 is a very comfortable position at the moment.
Yeah, it definitely is, mate. Moving on through to the top 10 shootout, everything changes, though. We take our top 10, and they have to battle it out again to see who will take our racecraft qualifying and pole position. We do love a good top 10 shootout, and this is the final of our season with round 9 happening next week. Circuit Jerez for an 80-minute enduro for our championship race. And one driver will be crowned the champion and take away the amazing trophy that is handcrafted by, I was going to say Melville Equipment. It is not Melville Equipment. It is Grim Industries, home of the V8 coffee table. So thank you so much, Grim Industries, for creating these amazing trophies that our champions will be winning. Ed Hayden has dropped in. Good luck to the PSR boys. Mike Hatherday, new wheel. You know what's expected. Look out, 067. Good to see you out there, Ed, cheering on your teammates there. And also throwing a bit of shade at Stephen.
Nothing wrong with that. I have to say, unfortunately, Marty, he got a personal best lap just before. It was a 1:31.6 flat, but just not quick enough to beat Joe Marnie V10. So
Just so close. I called him Mahoney before too, didn't I?
yeah, he called him Mahoney a couple of times.
Good. That's what he gets for not telling me how to pronounce his name right until halfway through the season.
Interesting. Troy Sipple got a personal best
Ah, but he's off track.
Oh no.
Just pushing it. Right, the cars coming around now need to get over this start-finish line to get one more lap in. So Steven Sinkovic is going to make it over the line. Car 067, 216 of Petar Pavlovic is also going to make it over the line with a big slide. Not sure he meant to do that. Is that car 79? No. Car 77 there. Travis Nielsen has made it over. So he will get this final lap. 73, Shane Newens will get another lap. 991, Andrew Cowan will get another lap. And 66 of Darren Crosby. He will be the last car here tonight for our racecraft qualifying session. Anybody else coming around now, this will be their final laps. Where are we at? 399, Keegan Caldwell be the first to come across and finish out this session. Sitting in P19 at the moment, quite a large field. We do have
22 cars out.
Yeah, there's a couple that haven't made it out of the pits yet though, and I don't know if they're still in the session, but there's Chris Barrage, Callan Hodgkinson, Reese DeGoey and Todd Martin all not making it out of pits. None of these drivers look to be setting any records right now with their final drive over the line, as Sinkovic will come over and finish out his qualifying session in P20. 77, Travis Nielsen coming across and will finish his qualifying session out in P18. Yeah. 991, Andrew Cowan will be next. Managed to get himself up into that top 10 shootout. He got a personal best in that last sector, and you can see still very, very consistent times. A 131.4 to a 131.5. So great to see. This will end out our racecraft qualifying session here tonight for round 8, thanks to Warren and Brown Tools at Red Bull Ring. If you don't know who I am Nathan ShiBBy Howard. I am one of your presenters and producers here for SRW TV. In the comms box next to me is another one of our hosts, Tyler Sheaf, who also loves to get out there and race with us. So please join both myself and Tyler tonight as we will be getting ready to head on over to the top 10 shootout server. There will be a 5-minute interval while we move on over. Tristo said, good luck, legends. Dodsy says, love this track. Should be some good racing, mate. I really look forward to it this weekend for the Pro-Ams as well, mate. You had a phenomenal drive on Sunday, so can't wait to see you get back out there. I'm just sending a message to someone who's asked me about getting some more drivers in. So looks like we'll get some new drivers coming on through. But we will be heading on over to our Racecraft Top 10 Shootout, our final one for this season. I am absolutely pumped. We will be right back with you in 5 minutes. Stick with us as we go to a quick intermission and head on over to that Top 10 Shootout.
Every weekend, I look forward to getting out there. It's a freedom like no other. It's part of who I am. If you ride, you know what I mean. That's why I insure with Shannon's. They get it. They share our passion and give us the features riders want, like limited use cover and multi-vehicle discounts. Shannon's insure all types of road bikes, not just classics. Whatever you ride with Shannon's.
Call 134646 for a quote.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and people of all ages, we are back live for your viewing pleasure here for round 8, thanks to Warren and Brown Tools for your simrigs.com V8 Supercars AM series. This is our final top 10 shootout for the season. Tim Nicol, Jason Douglas, Stephen Kennedy, Bruce White, Rick Vigor, Andrew Cowan, Mark Horton, Lorne Mackay, Joe Mahoney and Darren Crosby will be your final 10 to battle it out to see who will take your racecraft pole position and best lap. Temperature has settled to be looking at like 37 again. Sometimes that is wrong. Let's just grab this up. The air temp is 22 degrees. Track temp it just jumped to 38. So it's going to be as slicky as it was in the qualifying session for our top 10 shootout. The drivers are now getting briefed by our race stewards. And we will see our first driver come out onto track. It will not be Tim Nicol. It will be Joe Mahoney.
I wouldn't be surprised with the cool temperature at the start, and if it creeps up more and more, if there's an upset in the order, the slower drivers might be ahead of the quicker ones, and which is obviously a good thing, shakes up the race a bit. But yeah, Joe Mahoney, there'll be a lot of pressure on this man to find put in a really good lap. He just squeezed into the top 10, so hopefully that's just a warm-up session for him, and it just finds a little bit more pace out there.
Yeah, 100%. He was sitting in P18 it actually took him quite a while to get out of the pits and start running some laps during that qualifying session, sitting P18 for quite a while, and then out of nowhere just throws in a blistering lap time. And I think between the top 10, there was actually less than a second across the board, so this could make for some phenomenal racing out here, as Aaron has stated in our YouTube chat.
Definitely should be a good race out there tonight. Nice and close combat. Looking forward to it.
And then we get to do it all again on Sunday for the Pro-Am series at Red Bull as well. So going to be a cracking week of racing. Don't forget, Wednesday night will be our Formula 3 Nationals, thanks to Shannon's Insurance. As well as Thursday night, we have our Toyota GR86 Nationals, thanks to Shannon's Insurance. 7:30 stream start. So make sure you are subscribed and hit that notification bell so you don't miss when we go live. Qualifying session has been moved forwards. Mahoney is starting to move out of the pit lane now. We'll get ready to be released by our race stewards.
Will there be a shake up for the pole position, or do you reckon it will be Tim Nichols on top?
Oh, mate, top 10s, and I've seen a few now. They can be, what's the word? They're never the same.
Never the same?
No, any little mistake, that lap's gone, and you only get one lap. So I think there was one Pro Series that we watched where only 4 of the drivers actually managed to set a lap because of off-tracks. So upsets can happen in top 10s, and that's what makes them so exciting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what these boys do out there. I mean, they're all amateurs, so obviously it's not like that they're versing against the pro, but they have been racing against each other for the last 7 weeks, and they'll know who is more stronger out there compared to the others. So I know for sure they want to upset out there.
Yeah, well, if we have a look at the practice times and then the qualifying session, we definitely know there's going to be 2 guys that are going to be pushing for that 130 again. Jace Douglas had a great drive as well to get himself into P3. So, mate, any little mistake from top 3 could make a huge difference. All Mahoney has to do is drive a nice clean lap, get that benchmark in, and the worst he can do right now is P10 anyway, which is still only 5 slots back on the grid. And with Mahoney's pace, I've just called him Mahoney and Mahoney all in like one paragraph. With his pace, and we know he's a good driver, starting the grid in 10th spot is not always that bad.
You never know. It could be a big mishap ahead of you in a couple of laps time, and yeah, that's all it takes for you to go from P10 to P1. She's coming around the last corner. I don't think he's hit that as well as what he should have, but it would be interesting to see what he does with the hot lap.
We'll take this opportunity to jump on board with the Warren and Brown Tools cockpit cam for Joe Marnie's first lap of the top 10 shootout.
He didn't have the best exit there, just a little bit loose on the rear end, but he's still going on a good lap at the moment. First sector to 21.7.
See, as he exited out of that corner there, the car just got a little bit squirrely, had to roll off the accelerator quickly and get back on it to keep that traction. Down into second now. Big sweeping corners through here, very fast section.
Missed a bit of the apex there. It's very tough to drive a V8 supercar, especially if you're used to open wheel racing out on this track. It's a completely different ball game, but he's coming around the last two sectors now. Hopefully has a really clean last sector that might be able to put him up into a really good position.
Doesn't look too bad over this whole lap. Very clean, a couple of little mistakes, maybe not as tight as what he wanted, but will come across the line and set the first benchmark tonight with a 131.915, so that's not too far off where that top 10 was during qualifying. Let's grab Mr. Joe Marnie into the chat right now. How you going, Joe?
I'm good. How are you going?
Yeah, good, mate. Hey, the qualifying session, you just shot out of nowhere from P18 straight up into P10 to take that last spot for top 10.
Yeah, they just scraped in thanks to a nice little tow from Kennedy. So take it as it comes, especially when you haven't done a lap around this track before until a couple of hours ago.
Oh, you've never raced Red Bull?
No, I had to download it a whole lot. So first lap was I rolled into the practice session.
Wow, mate. Well, how do you find Red Bull?
Hate it. This place is a shocker.
Yeah.
Can't wait to get out of here.
It's a 50-50. Some people love it, some people hate it, but I tell you what, mate, Red Bull Ring always puts on some great racing. Worst you can do at the moment is P10, mate. So good luck out there tonight.
Thanks, boys. Catch you later.
All right, Bruce White from LMR Esports is out on his lap now as well.
I've got to say, it's pretty good to see Bruce out in the V8 supercar. Have raced against him in GR86s, and he's just getting better and better over time. So, put in a really decent first sector, 21.9. So just over 1/10 slower than Marnie at the moment, but he's still got two sectors to try and gain a bit more time.
I want to see the second.
Still just a little bit loose there coming into that corner. I don't think he's 100% confident in the car at the moment, but it'll be interesting to see whether or not he keeps it nice and clean. Not too bad, closer to the apex.
Haven't heard much squealing of the tyres, so he's keeping it very neat.
Yeah, keeping it clean, nice and consistent. Up to the last sector now, so he hasn't got a perfect yet, so it means that he's trailing behind Marnie, but...
Not in the top 10 shootout, mate. It's actually odd. We've seen people with 3 personal bests take the top position.
That's a bit bizarre.
Yeah, because their personal best can be still their best, but better lap as he come across the line. And there you have it, 131.799. Just outdoes Marnie. Great lap there from Bruce White from LMR Esports, mate. How are you feeling around Red Bull Ring tonight?
Not real good, right? It's a bit hot.
It's a bit hot? You got the air conditioner on in the car?
That's it. bit slimy.
Yeah, you had much practice around Red Bull?
Not really, not in this thing. I did a thing with in the vets practice the other day, but I think the track was a lot cooler. So.
Mate, so love it or hate it?
A bit of both.
Bit of both. Well, we do know from just watching the times in the practice session and through the qualifying that I think you're up for some really, really close racing tonight, mate.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but anything that you're going to keep yourself aware of as you tackle the Red Bull ring tonight?
Mate, just cars in front and stay on track, I think, mate.
Yes, keep your car on track, avoid incidents at the front.
Yep.
Well, mate, congratulations. Both you and Jace Douglas got yourselves into this top 10, so either way, you guys will be starting up the front of the grid. So get out there, have a blast tonight, and good luck.
Good one. Thanks, guys.
That was a very good last sector there. That was the quickest in the session that helped him bump into P1 currently.
Oh, he got the fastest in the session for the last sector. Nice. Jump on board again for that cockpit cam. Thanks to Warren and Brown Tools with Andrew Cowan from Performance Sim Racing. See how Andrew handles this track.
I know what I love about this man. He always claims that he's very slow, but he's not that slow because he's currently got the quickest first sector lap. So
calls himself the average sim racer, and I tell you what, he is 50 now, and he is not as average as he thinks he is.
I reckon all the old people out there always call themselves average racers, and they come out and absolutely clean us up. So they're quick out there. They're just lying to us.
Yeah, they're keeping it under the table. They don't want to, boast too much. Very conservative, I think. I've seen Andrew Cowan drive some phenomenal races. A personal best in the second sector as well, so this is looking really good so far. Super clean lap. Kept it very tight on all the apexes. Not much tyre squeal.
Yes, the last two corners where he's going to make or break it into potential P1. It just goes nice and smooth. Coming to the last corner now. Kept it nice and smooth again, so it didn't hit too much of a curve, didn't go too far out. And that should put him...
Oh, that's got to be P1.
Yeah, that's definitely P1.
Be. It is 131.637. Andrew Cowan for Performance Sim Racing, mate. We know you've had plenty of practice around Red Bull. How are you feeling with it tonight?
Yeah, I think I gave up a couple of tenths at the end there. That's probably going to cost me a couple of spots because it's pretty close and these boys are pretty fast. But yeah, it's been a while since I've had a chat to you boys. I've been struggling to qualify, bit of a bogey of mine, so I had been sort of trying to work on it, but not a huge amount of practice this week. But I've done all right, I suppose. We'll have to see how it stands up.
Yeah, mate, definitely. You've spent a lot of time in the V8 Supercar across a couple of different leagues. What do you think about Red Bull when the times are this close with the cars?
Oh, look, it's going to be tight in the race because it's really hard to part. I mean, effectively, the differences in the times are all come down to T1. It's how you take T1. Some of the guys get a great run through there. I know that in the qualifying session before this, I was losing almost 4 tenths to the guys, in that first sector, and most of it comes down to that first corner. So I suppose if you're brave and you can hammer through there, that's where your time is, because really your only passing opportunities, down at the big hairpin. Otherwise you get stuck behind people. So.
Right, so keep an eye out for turn 1 and the hairpin for moves and time gained and lost tonight, mate. Congratulations, you are sitting in provisional P1, mate. Get out there, have a great race, and hopefully we talk to you afterwards.
Thanks, boys. Take it easy.
On board with Lorne Mackay now, screaming through this lap. So you heard it from Andrew Cowan. This is the sector where people are gaining the time on each other as we see Lorne McKee take the best sector of the session so far. Really smooth through that first corner.
Yeah, he definitely set himself up very well. As we heard from Cowan, turn 1 is going to be a major part of it, and as we say, he's got a really quick first sector, so hopefully keeps it nice and consistent in the next two, he might put out the P1.
Definitely looking smooth, mate. Look at the way he's using all that track. Right, cuts it down in very neat through the apex, right out wide until his tyres are nearly touching that sand.
Getting another purple as well, so he's put himself in a really, really comfortable position. Just two more corners to go. It'll be interesting to see how much time he can gain here.
He is looking very smooth out there as well. Still eating up as much track as possible. Oh no! Please tell me that's kept it on the track. I don't think it has because his two rears went over. It has! He didn't break the track barriers, and that will move him into P1 with a huge drift around the final corner. We will bring Lorne in now. Wow, what a finish to take provisional P1, Lorne.
It's a bit of a shocker, yeah, but would have been nice to finish it off on a good note there.
Well, mate, that drift looked pretty awesome as you came around that last corner and still managed to squeeze out provisional P1.
As long as we're putting a show on a show, eh?
That's it, mate. And have you spent much time around Red Bull?
A little bit of late, yeah.
A little bit of late. Any other league racing?
V8 Vets.
The V8 Vets, right. And how did they handle Red Bull Ring?
Well, I didn't handle Red Bull Ring very well at all, so I'm hoping that this time around I do a lot better. So,
well, mate,
we'll
see. With some great times during qualifying and a really good lap then now in the top 10 shootout, mate. I think if you keep driving the way you were, and of course the key thing is stay away from other people's incidents, mate. Eyes forwards, race hard, and let's hope we speak to you after this race.
Too easy. Thank you.
Have a good one, mate.
Thanks.
We jump on board the M1 racing car of Stephen Kennedy from my hometown here in Queensland. We'll head on out to his lap now. Keep an eye on this first sector. That is where we really want to know if they're gaining time or not. Simon Hayes says, nice lap, Cowie. Onward and upwards for the race. Well, personal best, so keep that in mind. It may not be a purple, but personal best still can take P1.
There's only 8 thousandths of a second behind Lorne, so he's on track. As we all know, Lorne made a mistake in the last corner, so if Stephen keeps it nice and clean here, I reckon he can pinch P1.
Astounding battle for the AM's top 10 shootout here tonight.
I gotta say as well, the track is getting warmer and warmer, so it's getting more and more difficult for these drivers to try and keep it nice and clean and quick at the same time. Got a purple second sector as well, which is brilliant too, because that's put him in a really good position. Now it's just 2 corners to go, and let's see if he keeps it nice and clean coming into it and out of it as well.
It's up
nice
0.8 a second.
And he's kept it clean on the exit. I don't see an off track either, so that should put him.
That's got to be. Yep, 131.093. Absolute astonishing drive there for Stephen Kennedy of the M1 Racing Team. Steve, you will have to unmute us so we can talk to you.
Oh, thank you.
Hey mate, Red Bull Ring, love it or hate it?
Oh, at 38 degrees, I think I hate it. When the track's a bit cooler, it's a lot better, but yeah.
That's like all tracks though, mate. It definitely makes a big difference with a hot track.
That's it.
Looking forward, you practiced at a hot temp?
Oh, we practiced with the vets with a cold temp all week, so yeah, then we jumped here in a hot temp, but anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing, mate. Changes season to season, league to league. Track settings are always different. Just looking at the times through practice qualifying and now, of course, the top 10. Are you ready for some close battles tonight?
It looks that way, doesn't it?
It sure does, mate.
Especially the top 5, or even the top 10. They're pretty close, aren't they?
Yeah, I think it was within the.
It comes to race.
It was like within the top 19, there was less than 2 seconds across the spread. So really nothing in it.
Yeah, that's it. When you're in a pack, there's nothing. That's nothing.
Well, mate, good luck out here tonight at the Red Bull Ring, and let's hope we get to speak to you later on this evening.
Okay, look forward to it.
Have a good one, mate. Rick Vigor, for Angry Birds Racing.
Just getting tougher and tougher for every driver because now we're starting to approach the 30-second mark to pinch pole position. See the green first sector, so
track temp is 39 degrees, so as Tyler did mention before, it is getting hotter and hotter out there. It's not going to make it easier for the last of our drivers.
Yeah, this week was 1/100th of a second slower than the quickest in the session, so in that first sector, so he's not too far off. It's got 2 more sectors to try and gain those time. As you see in the first qualifying, he knows how to gain some time up on a hot track.
2 personal bests, so he's looking really good, really smooth, really gentle on that steering wheel.
Yeah, it's looking comfortable out there. It's got 2 more corners to go, and hopefully he can make a stick. Brilliant entry there. Coming to the last corner now. Nice and smooth. That's a good exit there. I'm intrigued to see where he just puts him. Purple, but only P2. Oh.
Only P2, mate, but look how close those times are. I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue for Rick Vigor sitting in provisional P2, mate. How'd you feel about that?
Yeah, pretty happy with that. It wasn't too bad. I struggle coming down the hill, braking there. I always struggle there. It's all weakness around here, and I went in there a little bit too deep, but anyway.
Little bit too deep. Hot track, mate. Red Bull Ring. Close times. How you think the race is going to go tonight?
Yeah, it should be pretty full on, I think. Everyone's very close, and yeah, it should be some good racing. Looking forward to it.
All right, mate. We'll get out there, have an absolute cracker of a race, as we know you always do, mate. And let's hope we get to speak to you for the podium, and the championship round is coming next week, mate. So here's to a good season.
Thank you very much, guys.
Okay, my Discord is just being a little finicky. Don't know why. Might have to get you to drag him in, maybe. I'll let you. I'll let you know, Sheafy. Oh, actually, Mark Horton. I don't think Mark has a microphone, or does he? No, I think he does.
I think he does.
There was one driver, I can't remember who it is, but doesn't have a microphone yet. But Mark Horton will come round. 7th driver out on track. I was just about to say, geez, how did he get 2 personal bests?
Yeah, he's only out there for a warm-up, so this is where he's going to take it nice and serious now. Took a fair bit of the sausage curve there, so we know that he's trying to use as much track as possible. But you did approach across the first sector now, a little bit off to the others, 4/10 off, so he's got a fair bit of time to try and gain. As we know, the track is a little bit warmer than normal, so Marky's got to pull out 2 good sectors to try and pinch P1.
Oh my gosh, I just found out my little brother and his wife are having a baby.
Congratulations.
I'm going to be an uncle for the 17th time.
17th?
we've got a big family across my wife's side and my family. There is a lot of nieces and nephews. We have a big, loving family. Oh, that's freaking awesome.
That's good.
All right, back to Mark.
Mark, yeah, he's got a good second sector there. Not the quickest, but he's still got a really good time. So he's all up to the last 2 corners now. Got to try and make as much time as possible.
How dare they tell me during the bloody broadcast?
How dare they?
I know, Mark Horton will come across the line in P5, 131.7. Look how close these times are. I don't think it's going to matter too much with where they're all landing in this top 10 shootout, because the race of 60 minutes around Red Bull Ring here tonight is going to be absolutely phenomenal. Mark Horton, mate, hot track, Red Bull Ring, love it, hate it.
Not too bad. The temperature's a little bit something I'm not quite used to as much. I drive a lot of vets in the cooler conditions, so...
We've had a good mix though across SRW this season with a few cooler tracks, and then of course when they're in a more tropic climate, the tracks are getting a bit more heat in it. Do you think it's been good for that sort of range of temperatures to learn to handle this beast a little more?
It is, actually. It's been really good. A bit of variety there, so it's not always in the cooler or the super hot conditions, you know. Like so.
And are you expecting some close racing tonight?
Certainly, and these boys are very quick, and there's always close, hard, respectful racing with these guys, so looking forward to it.
Awesome, mate. Well, good luck out there this evening. We are just about to watch Jace Douglas come around on his lap, mate, so get out there, have fun.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
All right, Jace Douglas from LMR Esports finished in qualifying in P3. How we doing, Jack Fro? Thank you so much for joining us this evening. You missed my stream today. How dare you?
Dude, good sector there.
That was
Purple sector
purple
for
sector.
Jace Douglas.
And that's what Calvin said as well, that is the make or break of this track, is that first sector. More prezzies, Uncle ShiBBy? Not a chance. We stopped buying presents for nieces and nephews a long time ago. We would have to put a second mortgage on the house to buy presents for all the kids.
That was a really good first sector there. That's the first person to be in 21.6. So it'll be interesting to see how Jace goes in the second sector and try and see if he even gets another purple as well. Just come across it. 39.8 in that sector, so a couple of tenths off there, so got a bit of time to gain in this last sector to try and pinch all position.
Yeah, he's up. He's positive 6.64 on that sector, so he wants to get those down in the minuses, of course. But still extremely close.
Yeah, good exit in the last corner as well. It'll be interesting to see where this put Jace. He's coming across the line now, and that puts him up to P4.
P4. So second row of the grid at this present time. And again, look how close those times are. This is absolutely ridiculous. Jace Douglas, mate, how you doing?
Yeah, good use.
Yeah, good, mate, good. Hey, you had much practice around Red Bull over your career in iRacing?
Only the vets practice that got put up during the week. I jumped in that hosting session.
Oh, so not much else racing around Red Bull Ring at all in any other cars?
Nah, not really.
Oh, right. Well, how do you feel about Red Bull Ring? We've asked everybody drivers so far, love it or hate it.
Hate it.
We're getting a good mix of answers here tonight. Mate, do you think the racing tonight is going to really show what the AMs are capable of?
Definitely, especially with off tracks if you're not careful.
Right, I thought from what we were seeing there's a bit of leniency, so there's a couple of spots, is there, that we should be keeping an eye on for those off tracks?
Turn 1 and probably the last corner.
Alright, mate. We will definitely keep an eye out on those. Congratulations. Worst you will do right now is P6, mate. Get out there and have a great race tonight.
Yeah, will do. Thank you.
It's Darren Crosby for M1 Racing as well, coming through round the first corner. We will wait for those sectors. Sorry. Yes, we will wait for those sectors to appear on screen.
That'll be interesting to see where he gets here.
Another purple.
Oh, just a little bit untidy there in that corner.
He really had to get on those brakes. You could hear him going down the gears to really try and pull that car up then. Still looking good though, only the start of the track.
Yeah, sometimes when you get a quick first sector, I might put you off for the next corner. That's what it's done here for Darren, so hopefully he hasn't lost too much time coming into the second sector.
Still positive 0.60 sector at the moment. Is a personal best. See there, 0.221.
Yeah, just 2 tenths slower than a couple other boys, but he was the quickest in the first, so that should even it out as he's coming across the last three corners, shall I say. It'll be interesting to see where this puts him. Nice and clean. Probably not the strongest exit so far, but he's come across the finish line. And P3.
248. Again, these times are just so on top of each other. Yeah, mate, you know what? You can ask Mr. Crosby a few questions.
G'day, Darren. How's it going, mate?
Yeah, good, buddy. How are you?
Yeah, good, thanks. What was your thoughts on being at Red Bull Ring at 39 degrees tonight?
A little bit sketchy into T2, the corner I'm going around now. Yeah, really sketchy. Then I realised when I looked down and it was 39 degrees, going into T3 and the next following couple of corners it was just too slippery, so just had to be really careful on the brakes. But yeah, not very nice. That just those extra couple of degrees makes a difference.
Yeah, it definitely does. Obviously you got the quickest in the first sector, and obviously just coming to turn 2 you just under the pump there, but where do you reckon is the key point of making sure that you can overtake the cars ahead of you tonight?
Oh, well, you can't come in and late brake or you'll just lose it. Probably it'd be on the pit straight, and after T1, that straight, or if someone gets a bad exit on T2, which is quite possible, yeah, there's the only really true places around 39 degrees. I wouldn't be attempting to going into the hairpin or anything like that, trying to take someone on at 39 degrees would be a bit tough.
Fair
on
enough.
The front end.
Well, we'll let you go anyway. Good luck for tonight, and yeah, hopefully we'll see you back again.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you.
Have a good race, mate.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Cheers.
Tim Nicol will be our final driver out here for the final top 10 shootout here on SRW TV for our simrigs.com AM series. And he is our pole sitter from our racecraft qualifying session. Tim Nicol from Quantum Pecky's Performance Racing.
That's a good sector, even though it's not purple, it's very close, only a couple hundredths of a second away from the best, so if he keeps these next 2 sectors clean, he will pinch P1. Ooh, just a little bit under the throttle there. He's still keeping it nice and clean though, be interesting to see how he goes in the second sector. I was across with the purple, that's good for him. Only got 1 more sector to go. 2 more corners and that's it. Be interesting to see where Tim Nicol puts himself in the top 10 shootout, and it's also good to see as well. If he doesn't make a mistake, all 10 drivers get a time on the top 10, which is good to see for the last one. As he comes around the last corner now, good exit. Coming across the finish line, and that puts him P1.
Oh, and he got into the 30s again. Practice, qualifying, and now top 10 shootout, all into the 30s.
Oh, that's just incredible.
It's all yours, mate, all yours.
Oh, Tim, you had a lot of pressure there. You had the hottest track temperature out there, but get into the 1 minute 30s, congratulations on that.
Yeah, thanks guys. I can tell you going into turn 2, I was shaking like a leaf going, don't stop it up. So yeah, no, it was just a bit slippery out there, but all good, pulled through.
No, I think you did an awesome job to, get a pole position for that. And saying that you've been very consistent in your practice, in your qualifying, and in your race, is that going to be the same as tonight's race as well?
Well, let's hope so. Thursday night we raced here for V8 Vets. I had a good finish in that one and just stayed consistent. I will be trying my hardest to stay out of trouble this week after last week's run-in with Cowie. So, yeah, it's just keep a cool head and, yeah, if I'm behind someone, just keep going. This track is very hard to pass on and easy to make a mistake. You can also make up a bit in the pits if you get that right.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it will be a strategy in the pit wars tonight. Are you confident with everything coming up to this race?
Yeah, I think so. Different fuel load than what we ran on Thursday night for Vets and a different track temp. But yeah, I think just same strategy as I raced here last time. Was just keep a cool head. Just if there's guys that are quicker, let them go. Because at the end of the day, for me now, it's only 33 points behind Crosby. I just need to sort of stay in there, and I think we've got a couple of rounds left. Just chip away at getting some points back.
Hopefully you have a good, clean race tonight, and most likely we'll see you later on tonight.
Thanks, Tyler. Much appreciated, mate.
Good luck tonight,
cheers,
Tim. I know my son, having the same name as you, every time he jumps in, he is rooting for you. So get out there and do him proud.
I will do. I will try sneaky to do it for you, mate. I'll do my best.
Awesome, mate. Great laps tonight, mate. Very consistent 130s, buddy. So I definitely look forward to watching this race tonight.
Thanks, ShiBBy. No worries. Cheers, guys.
All right, that will be the end of our Racecraft Top 10 Shootout, our final one here for Season 3 of our simrigs.com V8 Supercars. Tim Nickel for Quantum Pecky's Performance Racing, say that 3 times fast, will take out pole position and best lap one more time. Stephen Kennedy for M1 Racing will take out P2. Rick Vigor for Angry Birds Racing will be in P3. Darren Crosby, P4. Lorne Mackay, P5. Jason Douglas, LMR Esports, P6. Andrew Cowan for Performance Sim Racing, P7. Mark Horton for Accelerate Sim Racing will slot himself into P8. Bruce White for LMR Esports, P9. And Joe Mahoney will wind up the back of our Top 10 Shootout. Solid racing here tonight already through our qualifying sessions, and I cannot wait to be able to broadcast the 60 minutes of Red Bull Ring here for our Australian V8 Supercar Series. Please stick with us for a short intermission while we set up the next server and get on over to 60 minutes of absolute non-stop racing.
Every weekend, I look forward to getting out there. It's a freedom like no other. It's part of who I am. If you ride, you know what I mean. That's why I insure with Shannon's. They get it. They share our passion and give us the features riders want, like limited use cover and multi-vehicle discounts. Shannon's insure all types of road bikes, not just classics. Whatever you ride, ride with Shannon's.
Call 134646 for a quote.
Rare Spares has over 50,000 product lines and releases over 500 new products every year. Your local Rare Spares distributor has what you need when you need it. And as the only restoration company officially backed by Holden and Ford, we take our part in your project very seriously. Rare Spares, more than just a part in your project.
Every weekend, I look forward to getting out there. It's a freedom like no other. It's part of who I am. If you ride, you know what I mean. That's why I insure with Shannon's. They get it. They share our passion and give us the features riders want, like limited use cover and multi-vehicle discounts. Shannon's insure all types of road bikes, not just classics. Whatever you ride, ride with Shannon's.
Call 134646 for a quote.
Rare Spares has over 50,000 product lines and releases over 500 new products every year. Your local Rare Spares distributor has what you need when you need it. And as the only restoration company officially backed by Holden and Ford, we take our part in your project very seriously. Rare Spares, more than just a part in your project.
Thank you for sticking with us, everybody out there, for this broadcast. While we have a quick minute waiting for this session to go live, I just take this opportunity to not only thank all of you for joining us for each and every one of our broadcasts, but also say a huge shout out to all our drivers that turn up week in, week out and put on this amazing show for all of us to enjoy. We also couldn't do it, of course, without our sponsors. Of course, simrigs.com for being our naming rights sponsor for the V8 Supercars AM and Pro-Am series. Our round sponsor is Warren and Brown Tools. Our safety car is proudly sponsored by Promo Department. Fastest lap, pole position, qualifying and top 10 shootout, all sponsored by Racecraft. Our stream sponsors are Grim Industries, home of the V8 coffee table, temptingsweets.com.au, Rare Spares, and Shannon's Insurance. So thank you to all our sponsors. If you want any more information on what our sponsors can help you do, all their links are down in the description. Should be going live any minute now for our 60-minute race here tonight for round 8 at the Red Bull Ring.
46 for a quote.
Rare Spares has over 50,000 product lines and releases over 500 new products every year. Your local Rare Spares distributor has what you need when you need it. And as the only restoration company officially backed by Holden and Ford, we take our part in your project very seriously. Rare Spares, more than just a part in your project.
Thank you all for sticking with us through that quick intermission while we got our race server set up. We are back live and coming to you from the Red Bull Ring in Austria. Track layout is the Grand Prix. and we will be taking 60 minutes of non-stop racing action here for the simrigs.com V8 Supercars AM Series. This is round 8. Only 2 rounds left to go in this series to find out who will be crowned your champion. Well, we've got a little bit of time as these guys get another quick practice session in. We'll have another quick look over the points just in case anybody missed it at the beginning. Plenty of names up there in contention for the battles with 150 points on the line for a win tonight. That means anywhere from Jace Douglas and up. They lock in that 150 points. That is only going to make that top 4 even closer. Even if Joe Marnie for Race on Oz snaps that 150 points, that will only take him a few points off the leader as well. It's definitely something he's going to want to try and put in this evening and get himself that P1 finish. I'd like to point out 18, 19, 20. Miles Burgess for Crisscross Racing, Travis Daly for Performance Sim Racing, and Mark Peck for Quantum Pecky's Performance Racing. 459, 458, 456 points the gap. 338, 336, 335. Probably could expect some great battles between those 3 over the next 2 rounds as well.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing who can make and break their championships, even if they're not in it to win it. They've obviously got a few boys around them that they're battling for position, so a little bit of bragging rights at the end, maybe.
That's what makes this series such a great series. No matter where you look on track, there is always constant battles going on. And those battles at the back of the pack are making those drivers better and better every season. We start seeing them move up towards the mid-pack battles and then eventually up until the top. It is going to be a nail-biter of a race here tonight for Red Bull Ring. How's the temperatures looking, Tyler? Have they settled yet, or are they still sitting around that toasty 38, 39 degrees?
It started a little bit cooler, surprisingly, but just sitting at low 37 degrees, but I'm assuming that it will start warming up along the way and potentially start cooling down at the very end, so maybe the drivers will be happy by the end of the race.
Maybe they'll be happy by the end of the race. Oh gosh, it is one of those love-hate relationship tracks that can bring on some fantastic racing, but as you heard from a lot of our drivers in Top 10 Shootout, they're not overly all that keen on this track. From what we've heard, it's hard to get overtakes in, and it can be a very tricky track in a few sections for off-tracks as well.
Yeah, I think I heard a couple of drivers complain more about the heat than the track itself, so yeah, maybe they'll have a bit of love if they get the right result tonight, and maybe change the ideas on what the track is actually is to them.
100%. Hey, Rattler. How you doing, mate? Thanks for joining us this evening. Hope you're doing well and getting ready for some absolute fantastic racing out here for the AM Series. We see Tyson McAvoy, our safety car driver tonight, getting out there in the promo department, BMW.
Yeah, setting a really quick lap there, but I don't think it's quick enough for pole position, so...
No, it's not quicker than Tim Nicol. You're in Queensland, mate. Missed this round, mate. You're up in my neck of the woods, buddy. At least the weather has been absolutely phenomenal up here recently. You totally wouldn't believe it was winter still.
Jeez. Obviously, Stephen Kennedy put a 130.7, so got a bit of pace still.
Probably got a bit
Maybe
of
an update.
Yeah, these guys.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, these guys are still putting in super consistent times. Nothing has changed since the practice. What? an hour and a half ago.
Yeah, they're definitely very consistent, these boys, no matter what they do. So it's obviously good to see they're paying off all the practice and all the effort that they put into not just this league but others as well. There's cars going everywhere, I see. Having a bit of fun out there.
No, I think Tyson just made a mistake, and I love catching the mistakes made by race controls. But they do get out there and have a bit of fun during this practice session. It is just that reason. Get out there, get relaxed, get ready for this race, and then take it all to the track. Just over 5 minutes left to go of this practice session, and we will be going live here. This is the penultimate round of the AM series. I am so excited to see who will be crowned champion and take away that amazing trophy made by Grimm Industries, home of the V8 coffee table.
Yeah, I gotta say, these boys are definitely looking forward to the race. There's 23 of them out there, so it's good to see a healthy number at the end of the series, which is a good thing, and hopefully more to come next week in the endurance race.
Yeah, the numbers really haven't flattened out all that much at all. We started pretty strong at the start of the season with 30 plus drivers, but of course drivers will take drop rounds. As you can see, Rattler is in Queensland, so he can't make this race. Personal life does get in the way, but it's not going to stop these guys tonight from putting on one heck of a show for us all.
I've got to say, that's a really good lap from Sinkovic as well, 32.5, so I think that's quicker than his qualifying, so getting a bit more pace out there.
That's much quicker. That's 4 seconds quicker. He was sitting back in the low 134s. Sorry, 2 seconds quicker.
I do got to say that the temperature just all of a sudden dropped. It went up and dropped very quickly, so maybe the driver's grace is getting what they want, and the temperature might be going down instead of up.
That was a cracking spin by Travis Daly, if you saw that. I don't know how he managed to hold on to this. And around he goes and continues on.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
That's a 9.9
Yeah,
out of 10. That one.
I give that a 9.9 as well. That was fantastic, Travis. Well done. Great catch.
It's going to be interesting, especially if the temperature does go down a bit as well. It might bring a couple of other drivers that had been struggling a bit on pace up with the quicker boys.
Yeah, we should be moving into the afternoon now, so I dare say the track temps, I would assume they'd start dropping as we move into the afternoon here in the session. So we get a great shot from the chopper cam, watching Travis Daly head around Red Bull Ring. Rattler says he's sweating, mate. I'm feeling you. I have a fan on at the moment. Mind you, I do have a thermal heater right next to me pumping out about 50 degrees. So you can have a water-cooled PC, but it's still pumping out 50 degrees regardless.
Yeah, computers can be very brutal, especially over the summer when they are up and going. Obviously you're streaming, you got the game open, so it's in overdrive to be honest. So
I'm lucky. I've got one of those portable air conditioners. It's about $500, and I tell you what, it is an absolute lifesaver.
Oh, that's good to hear. Nothing better than a lifesaver.
Yeah,
I might need to invest in one myself.
Yeah, I think you can get cheaper ones. I think you can get them around like $300-400, but they're the ones that you stick the pipe out the window. And I tell you what, worth it. We bought it when my wife was pregnant, because she was pregnant during summer, and we didn't have air conditioning in the house at the time, and I tell you what, it kept our bedroom ice cold.
That's good.
And you need it up here in Queensland, because it's still winter and I'm sweating. It's ridiculous.
Mate, don't worry, it's winter down here, mate, where I am, and I still sweat, so That says something. Could you imagine me up there? It's nice and warm every day. Oof.
It's the humidity that'll probably kill you up here, mate.
Oh, like I said, I've been up there in the summer before. Not the whole summer, but I was there for 2 weeks, and I think that's good enough.
Yeah, it took me, I think, about 10 years to acclimatise to the humidity, and I still whinge and complain about the humidity every time summer comes around. I don't mind if it's hot, but if it's hot and you're drenched in sweat all the time, it is not fun.
Yeah, I definitely can agree with you on that one. I was only 30 seconds left until the boys are getting ready.
Grid will go live. Everybody get yourselves strapped in for our simrigs.com V8 Supercars AM series here tonight at Red Bull Ring. Thanks to Warren and Brown Tools for round 8 of season 3 of 2023.
A couple of seconds left before the boys start gridding up.
Safety cars tonight, mate. What do you reckon?
Ooh. Tough. I don't want to jinx it, to be honest. I would say 1.
I'm going to go 2.
I think the boys will keep it nice and clean.
I'm going to go 2, and they'll be early in the race, and then it's going to smooth out. The boys will settle in, and it'll be fantastic as we jump on board for our grid this evening. Is that... No, that's wrong. Let's try that again, grid. Tim Nicol for Quantum Pecky's performance was your racecraft pole position, best lap, and top 10 shootout winner tonight. Stephen Kennedy for M1 Racing will line up on the grid next to him. Rick Vigor, Darren Crosby will be on row 2. Lorne Mackay and Jason Douglas, row 3. Andrew Cowan, Mark Horton, row 4. Bruce White and Joe Marnie on row 5. Marty Hansen and Troy Sipple will be on row 6. Peter Pavlovich, Craig Healy, row 7. Scott Weston, Mark Peck, row 8. Travis Daly, Travis Nielsen. The battle of the Travises. The lights are getting ready to go green. There is no time between these. And we are off and racing. A great start there from Tim Nicol. Keep an eye on the back of the pack as they all filter around this first corner. A lot of movement, a lot of bumping and rubbing, but Nicol has got a clean exit.
It's a very good, clean start from Nichols, but I did see, unfortunately, Lorne, who's starting in P5, he just stalemated and fell all the way to the back. So
contact in the middle with Cowan and Horton. A lot of cars are around and they're still piling in on top of each other. I wonder if that might be our first safety car. We'll keep an eye on that as Nicol, Crosby, Vigor start moving away from the pack. Chased down by Stephen Kennedy and Jason Douglas now as well. The battle pack.
It's very unfortunate for Cowan, as we know that in the top 10 shootout, he said he's been very unlucky this season, and he's unfortunately caught up in the second corner incident there, so hopefully he can recover, but yeah, he's got a long way from the back now.
Steven Sinkovic has got a lot of damage. Something's also happened to Marnie. Marnie is just falling through the field. He is now down 10 spots into P20.
Yeah, there might be major damage in the car. It'll be interesting to see. Yep, he goes straight into the pits there.
Pits. Lorne now and Troy Sipple battling it out down to turn 1. Ray Douglas says him and Jace are in Victoria and it's 5 degrees at the moment, mate. I'd swap you.
I love it. Always the north say I'd rather go south, and the south say I'd rather go north. Nothing changes.
I was born in the south.
Now. It's going to be a very interesting battle here. There's just cars everywhere on the screen at the moment, and just all it takes was for one car in the front to make a mistake and cause havoc to the cars behind. But Lawn just stuck on the outside there and just kept it nice and clean. Unfortunately, did lose the position to Reston, but side by side coming into the next corner, but he didn't decide to back out. He's actually committed and got the move too. That's Lawn done a really good move there and got himself back up to the P9.
Yeah, but now that battling a small mistake there. Look who's coming up the side. There's Troy Sipple. Oh, there's a slide there. Big contact with the crisscross racing car. Big contact.
I'm surprised that didn't go upside down, that car. He got lifted off all four wheels then, but very lucky to still be driving in one piece.
So that was Keegan Caldwell. Oh, his car is also crab walking. Not looking good for Keegan, and he has made it into the pits. Struggling though. Oh no. Hodgkinson's into the pits as well, so he's copped some serious damage. A lot of chaos on this first 2 laps. We jump on board with Bruce White up in P6, chasing down his teammate now, Jason Douglas, who is just up ahead of him.
Yeah, it's kept it nice and clean at the start, gained 3 positions, showed to the man behind him, Marty Hansen, up 4 positions as well, so they are absolutely taking every opportunity they can to gain some positions. To see Cowie, Peck, Cowie, yeah, it is Cowie,
yeah, mate,
going on to the inside, and I believe you just got him very nice and clean there too, so,
it's not over yet, Tyler.
Peck decides, no, I'm not going to let you go too easy. Forced to carry on the outside here. Oh no.
Was there a bit of contact there? They were racing extremely close. Let's leave that up to our race stewards this evening.
That's Tim Nicol in the lead with Crosby behind. He did say that he had to be in front of him as much as possible, and Crosby saying, no, I'm not going to make the job very easy on you today. And in P2 with Stephen Kennedy currently in P3 as well. Oh geez, a couple of boys behind him and the exit as well in the pits. This could be messy here, but they keep it nice and clean. Still 2 wide coming into the second corner. Jason is in prime position here. There's contact.
Another contact. Close racing by all the drivers. This is something that can happen when our drivers are extremely close. Something's happened to Pavlovich. There's been a big incident up the front as well with Kennedy and Pavlovich. They have both plummeted down the field. Travis Nielsen, our biggest mover so far, up 10 spots into P8. Getting absolutely hassled though by Scott Weston of the GMK Logistics team.
Yeah, trying to gain as much position as you can. Starting P18, and currently P8 is obviously a good job from him so far. Trying to keep it as clean as possible and gain as many positions as possible. But he does got a few boys behind him, in the likes of Weston, Daly, and Mackay as well. So. Yeah, those 3 boys behind him will be all over him wanting to gain as many positions as possible. As we see Scott just trying to keep Daly behind him, coming to the last corner now. He's kept a really good clean job there.
You see Reese to go. Shane Newens is now into the pits. He must have got caught up in some of that. Those incidents happened over the last 5 laps.
Yeah, there's a few boys that unfortunately got caught up in a couple of incidents, and it'll be interesting to see how it pans out for the rest of the race. But 6 minutes in, still got 54 minutes to go, so plenty of time for these boys to go. Peter is just about to be overtaken.
Yeah, by Mark Peck there. Just noticed Stephen Kennedy is in the pits, down 18 spots.
So that's a beautiful move there from Pavlov to get back in front of Peck, so good move from him there. Kept it nice and clean. Just a crisscross, but got a defend coming into this corner. which he has. He's got the outside line, and unfortunately just allowed Peck to get back in front of him and cleaned him too, so unfortunately Peter.
Yeah, look at Reese Goey as well, mate. He's right on the back of Pavlovich now as well. And so is Craig Healy.
The battle's nice and close here. Just one small mistake and the drivers behind you will eat you for lunch. It's good to see that these boys doing it nice and clean here.
That's the trick too. If you're sitting behind a battle pack of say 4 or 5, you don't always need to try and make a move to overtake the car in front of you. You've just got to keep that pressure on them. Because as Tyler just said, one little mistake, you can easily jump 4 positions as we see the battles of the Travises. Daly, Nielsen, Lorne's in there as well, moving back down, and Lorne McKee, Andrew Cow and Scott Weston, all in a big battle here.
Yes, it's important to make sure that they don't outbreak themselves coming into this hairpin, and I think they all did a really good job there, keeping it nice and clean. Unfortunately, Cowie had to back out and give Scott Weston back to P11, but they've got plenty of laps to go to try and gain some more positions, and they're doing it nice and cleanly now.
Healy and Pavlovich still going at it. Goey's sniffing him out as well, mate.
Yeah, the Goey's all over them. He definitely wants more positions, and obviously starting at the back just makes it a bit more painful because you've got more cars you've got to overtake, especially if you know that you're quicker than them. But Reese, he's got to do the right thing, just let these two battle out, let them make a mistake and just make the most of it.
And being a 60-minute race, we are going to have pit stop strategies coming into play.
Yeah, definitely correct on that. As you see, Healy just trying to make Peter Pavlik make a mistake coming into the last corner. 2 different lines, but Peter got the most of it there. Beautiful run. And unfortunately, Craig will have to wait another corner before he can make a move on him.
Definitely looked like he was carrying a bit more speed towards the top end of that straight before they got to the corner. Definitely closed that gap a little bit on Pavlovich.
Yeah, having a bit of toe helps.
Lorne now on the outside of Daly. Nielsen in front, both Nielsen and Lorne getting a little bit crossed up there.
Kept it nice and clean there. Lorne just trying to make the most of it, but Daly just done an awesome job to keep it nice and clean, but that allowed Scott Weston all behind him as well to make a move on them.
Pavlovich and Healy are non-stop battling. I can see in my logs that Healy and Pavlovich have passed each other a couple of times here, side by side. Pacific Esports car not looking the greatest, but it doesn't seem to be slowing him down, as he is keeping the GMK Logistics car at bay.
Yeah, definitely good to see Peter out there. I'm used to him in the KVC car, but yeah, nice beautiful livery, I've got to say, from Peter's team, and good battle as well, just for P14. I know Healy trying to make the most as he can, make a move, but as we move over to Travis Daly, trying to prove that he's the better Travis out there tonight. Oh, geez, see that move there from the lawn. Well, they have to show Bruce Sipple was made a massive dive bomb and got in front of Travis, and unfortunately Travis now stuck in the sandwich between Cowie.
Oh, contact between him and Cowie. Will they both stay on track? They have all 3 of them managed to keep those cars on track without causing any more damage to each other. Well done to all those 3 drivers. Start moving back up towards the front of the field now, as Rick Vigor is being hassled by another GMK Logistics car of Marty Hansen.
Obviously he's doing an awesome job to try and keep Hansen behind as well. We've got Bruce Wright as well, currently in P6, so he's got to try and stick to the back of these 2 as well. Top 3 positions, so he'll be a very happy man at the moment, but he's got 2 cars squabbling for P4, So maybe if there's a mistake between these two drivers, Bruce can capitalise on it and get up to P4.
100%, mate. You can already see he's starting to close that gap on them. But Marty Hansen is starting to look like he's going to want to make a move around Rick Vigor sooner than later. He doesn't want to get stuck here with White closing in on the back of them.
Yeah, especially when you know that you're a couple of tenths quicker than the car in front of you. You want to just try and make the move as quick as possible so you can try and capitalise on not losing too much time to the front guys. To see if we just had the inside line nice and clean there. Ooh, a little bit of a fishtail that allowed Marty to go back side by side coming into the next corner. It'll be interesting to see what Marty does here, if he goes for a late break or an early break to go for a crisscross. Coming side by side into the corner, he's going to go for the undercut. Oh no, Vigor just a little bit too wide there. That allowed Bruce White to come in side by side to Hansen too. It'll be interesting to see what Bruce White does here. He's on the outside coming to the corner, but decided to back out there, so he kept it nice and clean, which is good. He didn't want to make mistakes, but he knows for sure that these two boys ahead, they're going to make a really good battle. If you see Peter Pavlik and Steve Singh, is that Sinkovich?
Yeah, it is Steve and the poor beat up Mustang.
Yeah, it's a bit ringless out there, but he's doing a good job to keep behind Pete, and I was just taking, oh no, gone for a good move, and unfortunately Peter just gave him a kiss on the bumper, but yeah, I am surprised how quick Steve is in the bit of a beaten up car.
Weight reduction, mate. Weight reduction. That's key to these cars. Strip some weight out of them, they'll get faster.
Yeah, just make sure you don't put that car on the scales after the race, otherwise it might be a black flag.
Yeah, that's true.
You can see Peter just trying to make a move. He's got a beautiful exit coming from the last corner. He's going to be the inside line into the turn one, so broke later than Steve. So Steve's tried to back out there and go for the undercut, and beautiful exit there, but he didn't get held up either, I don't think. So he's going to have the inside line coming to turn two, and ahead of him as well, so hopefully he maintains it here. Side by side. Peter decided to go for the under and over move, and he has successfully done that really well. So that will allow him to have the position coming to turn three, but that's a really good battle for P14 at the moment. See Steve just going for the outside, but didn't work out, so he's going to go for an in and under. But he's got to be really careful though, because Mark Horton has caught up to the both of them now and looking very pacey as well.
And he's quick. He finished in the top 10 in the qualifying sessions, so we know he's got a lot of pace. I dare say he's going to be trying to do that same thing and get around these drivers as quick as possible. He doesn't want to be caught up here.
Yeah, he got more pace than Stephen and Peter, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes, and I think he's just got to pick it the right time at the right place to make his move. He just, I don't know what's going on. Yeah, just a little bit wide. Hopefully it's not a slow down there for him, but you see that Peter decided to go into the pits. He might have a bit too much damage at the moment, so he wants to use the fast repair and get back out there. But now Stephen's got a lot of pressure behind him. Mark Horton, who really good pace at the moment, and going to try and make the most out of it on the outside coming into turn two. And he's got him side by side now, so approaching turn two, going to slow down, see what Steve does. Steve has gone in a little bit quicker and it's gone underneath him. So yeah, just a bit of different racecraft there. A few of the boys have deployed. Stephen one's got a little bit more quicker coming into turn two, while the others a little bit more slower, so they get that faster exit. But it has worked out for the both of them, because the side by side coming to turn three, and Mark is, oh no, Steve
just
going around.
Yeah, just clipped the edge of the grass there, trying to push the car right out wide, trying to leave as much space as possible. Left rear tyre clipped a bit of the grass, as we see Horton do a similar thing but not spin. Jumping back up forwards, Marty Hansen now up 6 positions on the back of Rick Vigor. There is a massive gap. It goes Crosby, Nickel, and then a huge gap down to Douglas. A lot of fresh air up there for the top three right now.
And honestly, I think Jason Douglas is happy to be by himself at the moment. You know, he knows he's not as quick as Nickel and Crosby, but he's got a really good pace to keep ahead of the rest of the pack, so he's got to make sure that he maintains that gap, if not improve it, and use that pit strategy as much as possible.
Yeah, which being the V8 Supercars, and where is... We had a 44% fuel restriction tonight from Red Bull. I'm probably going to say 24 minutes. We may start seeing pit stops come in. There has been a drive-through penalty for car 77. Contact lap 8, turn 3. So that is a drive-through penalty for Travis Nielsen. As we see Lorne here for Accelerate Sim Racing battling it out with Travis Daly of the 777. Just realised the Travises even have similar numbers. Travis Nielsen is 77 and Travis Daly is 777. So some battling between the Travises.
Yeah, I'm battling between the number 7s as well. I hope that there's another Travis out there that comes in with the number 7.
Drive-through penalty for car 216. Contact lap 8, turn 10. So that is Petar Pavlovich that will take that drive-through penalty.
Very unfortunate for him. He's already had a little bit of car going, I believe, and yeah, unfortunately back at the pack at the moment, but maybe, just maybe the rest of the race can go his way. So we see Marty just battling out still for P4. Bruce just staying at the back of them as well, so all three drivers just in cruise control at the moment, 20 minutes in, 1/3 of the way. They know that they've got 40 minutes to go, so there's no point risking your car to be out of the race. So you never know, there might be a safety car later on in the race that puts them back up in the battle for the podium position. But yeah, beautiful exit from all three boys as well, keeping it nice and clean. Might have gone in for the inside here, maybe? No, just back out a bit. He knows he's got to keep it nice and clean, and he's got to commit to it if he knows he can keep the car safe. So yeah, it's good to see that Hansen just keeping it nice and smart, and see what happens later on in the race. We see Darren in the lead, Nickel behind him.
Few people jumping into the pits now. So Andrew Cowan has jumped into the pits. Mark Peck has gone into the pits, and so has Keegan Caldwell. None of those received the drive-through penalties. Interesting to see, but Darren Crosby definitely out there with a really nice 1 second gap. It may not seem like much, but in racing that can be quite a hefty gap and give him a comfortable lead over Tim Nickel.
Oh, it comes to the pit stop strategy here. He knows he's got pace, but if he makes a mistake in the pits, that will allow Nickel to get back ahead. As you see, Crosby.
The pit's coming in, 21 minutes. I wasn't far off the pit strategies. Oh, did they slow their cars down before coming in?
That's the thing that you got to risk. He knows he only got 1 second between himself and P2, and he's got to make the most of it. But if you make a mistake, you're going to lose 40 seconds with the black flag. So yeah, I hope he hasn't got a speeding penalty, but it'll be interesting to see what happens here. Jason Douglas.
Yeah, look at all the cars coming in, mate. Everybody is starting to flow in. So we're looking at about 21 to 22 minutes of racing, so 15 laps per pit stop. Interesting to see what they do.
Yeah, I think all these boys are coming in now. It's kept it clean, and they know for sure that there in a really optimum position. So, like I said, the only thing that's going to make a difference now is the safety car. If the safety car doesn't come out at the 40-minute mark, it can break a few drivers' races at the moment, but a lot of these drivers are out there now. Nickel's 2 seconds behind now, so Cliffy's made some time. Douglas still roughly 10 seconds behind second as well, so yeah, there's a bit of a gap between the boys up ahead, but in saying that though, Kennedy was made sure that he moved up some positions, I believe. Was it not someone else battling for P4 earlier?
Yeah, no, Kennedy has moved up. He managed to pass Marty Hansen. Oh, he passed Travis Daly, Marty Hansen, Troy Sipple and Bruce White. So Kennedy has moved from P10 to P5.
Yeah, I thought it was a bit strange to see Kennedy out there. I was getting a little bit confused going, am I still not hallucinating? But yeah, he made some brilliant position there for the pit stops. See Andrew Cowan on the back of the pack battling for P9 with Travis Daly and Travis Nelson as well ahead of him. So these three boys are in for a tight battle. As I said, the two Travis is just trying to show who's the dominant driver, but looks like that Nelson decided to back out.
He might have got to slow down, and now Daly locks it up and off the track he goes. So Cowie will take 2 easy positions there, get up into P9.
Yeah, it looks like that Travis Nelson went into the pits, so that explains why he backed out in that battle. He didn't want to make any contact with the boys, wanted to enter nice and cleanly.
Serving his drive-through.
Yep, that would make sense. But yeah, Coward's slowly progressing back up on the field, back in the top 10, so that's good to see. Got a little bit of time to try and gain on Marty Hansen, but we've still got one more pit to go, so 35 minutes, anything can happen. The Marty Hansen battling out for P7 with Troy Sipple. Tried to make a move into turn 3, but that did not work, so coming into turn 4 now, I believe he'll want to cruise control behind him, pick the right line, get as much speed as possible to set up in the second last corner. So Marty's just keeping it nice and clean. Troy's got a really good exit there as well, so it's a good battle between these two boys. They might have to wait till turn 1 to maybe make a move here. He threw the nose but didn't commit to it.
Just keeping pressure on the back of him at the moment. He might be able to force Sipple to make a mistake. It probably sounds like it's going to be a really tough thing to do, but putting the pressure on the back of even good drivers can cause them to make a slight mistake, which you may be able to then jump onto and take advantage of that mistake.
Good to see these two boys battling out for P7 nice and cleanly. Bit of mind games in the cockpit between these two brains, you know. Troy's going, when are you going to try and overtake here? No rest right defend. Well, we've got Marty as well. He's going, where can I put this man under pressure? See, 3 more cars ahead, and Marty's made a brilliant move to go side by side, just ahead coming into turn 3. And he committed in front as well. A little bit of a lock up, but done the job really well. Off he goes. So yeah, Troy unfortunately loses out P7 as we see Travis Nelson. Got a replay here. Steven Sinkovich, oh, he's got a brand new rear wing here. Oh no.
It didn't last very long there.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was Travis that went a little bit too hot into that second last corner there.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. Let me get back to live so I can check something. But we do have our first safety car of the night. I don't know if it was because of that incident with Nielsen and Sinkovich. Just trying to have a look through to see what might have caused that incident. It could have been because of Nielsen's damage, that he wasn't actually going to make it back around the track.
Yeah, very unfortunate there. This definitely changes the game as well. You know, the pit stop was roughly a 45-minute mark for a few, well, not a few, but most of these boys. But now that the safety car's out at the 27-minute mark, it'll be intriguing to see whether people try to go into the pitch, get a bit of a splash and dash, and change the strategy up a bit.
We did just have a big flow of pit stops, so I see what you mean by a quick splash and dash. They might be able to stretch it out. So it was 22 minutes. Wait, what has happened? Fritz is now back in the what? The pits. Race control, what is happening? If you can give me an update, please.
Yeah, to me it looks like there is a safety car potentially out there.
Oh, right, there was 2 safety cars out on track. Okay, so the safety car is still out. Tyson McAvoy is leading them around. Maybe Fritzy just pulled out as a warning to say to all the other drivers as they're coming around. I'm still wondering if it was that incident between Steven and Nielsen that caused it. Steve spun, was able to go straight into the pits, but you could see from Nielsen that he did hold a lot of heavy damage. Ooh, Callan Hodgkinson's in the pits.
Yeah, he hasn't had the best of luck tonight, Callum.
And he's been in the pits for quite a while.
Replay with Callum.
Oh, okay. So this is what could have called. So this, yeah. So it actually starts here. This is an instant a couple of corners back. Just locks it up. Ends up in the dirt. Couple of corners later. This is where we see he comes down. It just sort of looks like that might have been mechanical failure.
Yeah, it definitely looked like it, because that's just bizarre how the car, oh no, it's a right-hand turn, but the car just went straight into the wall, so it's just, you can see him lock up the brakes straight away, not to hit the wall, but something weird has gone wrong there, either mechanical issue in real life or on the game, so very interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah, it's the only way I could see what might have called this safety car. Was just having a look who would sitting in the pits for the longest. I noticed Callan's name, so I dare say that is the reason Callan was unable to get his car off the wall there. So at the moment, Darren Crosby for M1 Racing is leading the charge. The whole field is pretty much back on top of each other again. One more lap of the promo department safety car.
It'll be interesting to see what happens here. So I'm looking at the pit count here. The person with 2 pit stops in the position is P15 Stephen Kennedy, and a few other drivers behind him as well. So no one has decided, no one else in the top 15 has decided to go for a second pit stop yet. So I believe that they are biding their time, fuel saving as much as possible, and just going for a splash of dash at the very end of the race.
It's going to be very, very interesting, mate, because it is really starting to get 21 to 22 minutes is when we saw that first pit stop. That would now be in about 10 minutes of racing for the second pit stop. But under safety car, these guys are saving a fair bit of fuel.
Yeah, I don't think it's enough fuel to save for the whole race. It's definitely a lap or two worth, but yeah, as to see a few of the lap boys got their lap back, so that puts 22 cars back on the lead lap, I believe. So good to see that they are given a second chance of redemption in this race. I've got to say, Darren Crosby though has done a really good job up 3 positions. Kept it nice and clean, just keeping Mr. Tim Nicol behind him. But now it's coming to the second half of the race. You reckon that Tim will try and attack him a bit more rather than sitting behind him? And no answers from Civvy. No, all good. And we've got Jason Douglas and Pete.
Just having a drink, mate.
No, all good, all good. Yeah, but what's your thoughts? Is Tim going to try and battle out for Darren now in the second half of the race, or do you reckon that Darren's just a little bit too quick for Tim?
Oh, mate, there's going to be a lot of pressure. You've got Bruce White, Rick Vigor, Jason Douglas, Tim Nicol, and Crosby. So, mate, it's... Again, a safety car brings it back to anybody's game. So we will see how Darren attacks this restart after the safety car rolls away and it's left in his hands. Looks like we're going to go another lap. We are going to go one more lap under safety car.
Well, I do love it as well because this comes with a lot of skill, and the skill is to make sure that you save as much fuel as possible during this moment, because if you save the most, you will be in the pits to the less if you've got to go for a splash and dash. So not only are you obviously making time in the pits, but you also get that advantage out on track as well. Yeah, like I believe 14 cars in the top 14 all have one pit stop. A few others behind has 2, so the potential shake-up as well later on in the race. Maybe they can get an advantage from the safety car as well and have a quicker splash and dash once they are up and going again.
It's going to be really interesting to see what's going to happen now. Because they're going to be right on the edge of either having enough to finish the race or only just having enough not to finish the race.
Yeah, definitely 10 minutes will tell. Obviously, that's where the pit stop was supposed to be, but now being, I think, roughly 3 to 4 laps under the safety car, it's tough to tell whether or not they will make the most of it. And yeah, most likely now your pit stops will be at the 52-minute mark. But yeah, Crosby, Nichols, those two got a really big advantage being in front of everyone else. But then again, everyone behind them as well, being in the tow, they get to have the swift stream. They don't have to use as much fuel as possible, and they might have the bigger advantage.
Well,
as we see the safety car goes.
Safety car is pulling away as soon as that safety car ends up in the pits. The lead will be handed to Darren Crosby. See all the cars right on top of each other now. 22 cars left out on track. The restart has been given to Darren Crosby now. Let's see if he holds them up or makes an early start. And he is away. He was not hanging around. I think he wants that 1 second gap back. And he is off already. Really got a good run off that corner.
That's a really good start from Crosby, making sure that he has gone away from other people. Knows that Jason Douglas is no slow coach. So and Jason talking about that. Thinking about having a crack at Tim Nicol for P2 coming to the second corner. It's on the outside though, so he's probably got to go for the crisscross. Goes in underneath him. Ooh. little bit close there for comfort, but I think it still didn't slow him enough, so he started getting to P2. Congratulations for Jay. Beautiful move there. I'm pretty sure his old mate Ray Douglas will be very happy with that move.
Oh, but Nichols coming back at him, mate. Nickel didn't let that get away. Nickel has pulled just back out in front again. This will be a fantastic battle between these two for P2 as we head into the last 20 minutes of this 60-minute race.
A really good battle for P2. They're keeping it nice and clean side by side through the corners, tight corners around. They're not very easy to see on the bumper of Jason. Got a whole pack behind him, but he's done a brilliant job to gain that one position. Now he's got to try and catch up with Darren Crosby. He's already gained a 2-second advantage.
2 seconds! And that just shows what battling behind P1 will do, as we see Tim Nicol for the Quantum Peckies racing team up the inside again of Jace. Jace took a much wider line, will get a smoother exit out of that corner and keep himself right on the back of Nichols.
Going to be interesting to see what's going to happen here. He's got to go for the same move for the crisscross. He's got the outside line coming into the inside.
And look what's happening behind them as well. Bruce White, Rick Vigor, Marty Hansen, Troy Sipple, Andrew Cowan, Travis Daly, all within grasps of that top three. Nielsen is around and plummeting down the table. There is a lot of smoke in the background. Mike, no, it's Petar Pavlovich. It's just not been his night.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate for him, but I've got to say, Bruce White done an awesome job to get up to P4 now, and Jace got back in front of Tim Nicol as well, so I think Tim Nicol's got to be really careful here because he's stuck in the LMR sandwich, and if Bruce White get in front of him, it might allow Jake Douglas to try and keep away from the pack. Coming to the last sector now, trying to gain as much time as possible coming to the last corner. He knows he's got to get in front of Jason Douglas as quick as possible.
Douglas and Nicol actually, if you have a look, starting to stretch that. Even though they get battling, they're actually starting to stretch a gap back from the guys behind them.
Yeah, obviously the boys behind also quite a battle as well coming to turn 2 and turn 3. So as you see, just Bruce White and
no, contact with
contact.
Daly and Sipple. Big contact. That is not what Simple is going to want to feel at the moment. That was heavy contact into that wall.
Yeah, hopefully it's not too much damage on that car, but it's good to see that he should be able to get back to the pitch on his own steam. You see the battle for P4, it's on, isn't it?
Mate, a safety car restart really brings on the battles, that's for sure. Jace Douglas and Tim Nicol still duking this out as Darren Crosby has nearly pushed it out to a 4-second gap to Tim Nicol.
I think Darren Crosby would be the #1 fan at the moment with these boys battling behind him. Yeah, he knows the more they battle, the more time he can get. As you see it last lap, he gained a whole second to the field, so he's definitely wanting these boys to keep up behind him.
Massive amount of clean air ahead of him as well. Nothing to worry about behind him. You can see Nicol and Douglas, their pace really starting to push away from Bruce White. Cowan is in the pits. Sipple is in the pits. Interesting. This could be the start of the play of different style pit strategies as we move towards the last 15 minutes of this race.
Yeah, definitely. The pit box window is now open, so these boys here, they know that they go in pits to get this plus and dust, and out they get, so they probably want clean air, so getting into the pits and getting clean air might actually give them a wonderful undercut as well, but we're interested to see how it plays out, because these boys ahead battling, they might lose a couple of positions.
Yeah, it's a dangerous moment right now, especially because from what we believe is that the front runners are still going to need to pit.
Yeah, they definitely have to pit. No, I think most of these boys are gone at the same window, so there's no way on earth they can save that much fuel to go under one stop as received drive-through penalty for car 23 on lap 23. But car 23 is unfortunately...
Oh, that's Tim Nicol.
Oh. Caught in the war tonight, isn't he?
He is, mate, he is. So there was contact with him on lap 23. Tim Nicol, I don't think I'm going to be able to find... Oh, that was the contact with Jason Douglas, was it?
No, I think that was number 73, not 23.
Oh, hang on, let me reread it. No, it says car 23, but I believe it's, yeah.
Yeah, I
interesting.
think it's a very different car. 73 saying because Sane's in the pits, and I don't think Tim has made any major contact. Because
Yeah. Not that we've seen. We've been keeping an eye right on this front of this battle pack. Simon Haynes dropping in and saying, let's go Cowie. Going for the undercut.
yeah, definitely had gone for the undercut. It'll be intriguing to see how much time we can gain to the group. We'll see Mark Horton. Oh, sorry, it was car number 73. There we go. So, car number 73 was Shane Nowland that got the penalty. You can see Mark just battling out with Kennedy for P7. Gone for a really good undercut there, but just Kennedy had a real good exit as well. Kept it nice and clean in front of him. Last two corners now, just where he can make and break a move here. If he gets a better exit coming out to the last corner, he can set himself for the first corner. But Kennedy's done a really good job there as well, just slowly regaining his positions after an unfortunate incident early in the race.
A few more people are starting to filter through the pits now. We've just had Daly and DeGoey both filter through the pits, both respectively up 11 and 6 spots.
Like I said, at the moment, Stephen Kennedy is the only person in the top 10 that's gone into the pits twice. So I don't know whether or not he has enough fuel to make it, but he definitely has an advantage compared to everyone else. If he needs to go for a splash and dash, it will only have to be a small margin. Looking on Crosby there, coming across the last section there, with a few others following him as well. Beautiful for camera angle there, ShiBBy. Get the cars nice and close. See their speed coming around the last sector. Actually, that wasn't the last sector, that was the second sector.
Yeah,
Sorry
second
about
sector.
that. It looks so similar, but
The
it's
camera
just the way
angle
I
was just
out.
so nice it threw you off.
This battle between Vigor and Hansen just continues on as well. Like, unfortunately, they have lost some time to Bruce, but I think Bruce has gone into the pits. So he's the second off the top.
Crosby
to go through.
and White are both into the pits, but we do see Hansen starting to make a run here on Vigor. Down into turn 1.
Now, we all know that Crosby got a couple of seconds up. Vigor here, he's got to be really careful not to get a slowdown because that can play into Hansen's hand. Into the second quarter now, having a nice and clean, put the outside, he gave Hansen the inside line. Oh, that was really close there.
So yeah, Darren Crosby went in the pits, mate. Bruce White went in the pits as well. Bruce White hasn't come out yet. Darren Crosby came back out in P11. So that puts Jason Douglas and Tim Nicol in the battle for P1. But high chance that both these drivers are going to need to pit again.
Oh, it's going to be really bizarre because at the moment you see Steven Sinkovic just been overtaken from Darren Crosby as well. He's been into the pit 2 times as well, so it'll be interesting to see where that plays in. in the strategy as well, if he has enough fuel to make it all the way to the very end. Could be a sneaky podium from Steven Sinkovich. As you see, I see Marty Hansen joining into the pitch, same with Stephen Kennedy and Mark Peck as well. So another 3 more drivers have bit the bullet and jumped straight into the pitch. As we see now the battle for P1, of temporary P1 shall I say, with Nichols and Douglas still at each other. It's going to be very intriguing to see whether or not they're both going to go into the pitch on this lap or if one will stay out. But Jason's got a good advantage. He's got the tow. For fuel save, he might be able to gain one more lap to go for an absolute overcut with Nichols. Having a nice and clean chase, making sure he doesn't make a mistake. It's a really quick lap too, 31.4 last lap, so he's got some good pace in the car.
That safety car really threw a spanner in the works for these drivers, didn't it?
Absolutely correct on that. Unfortunately, Nickel was not expecting Douglas to be on the back of his bumper, especially when he had a fair bit of bumper on him. He had a 9-second gap, but unfortunately, you can't get more than 1 second on him. As you see, Mike making a move on...
No, the way around. Sipple,
the other way around.
Yeah, Sipple just made this move on Hatherday. So after that run-in with the wall earlier, Sipple's really going to be wanting to push hard. Nickel and Douglas are now into the pits as well. Vigor's in as well. Mark is going to come through. Healy will be next in line for a pit stop. He's going to come through as well. Scott Weston now coming down towards pit lane and will continue through, so he will take his spot up in provisional P1.
He had pitted 3 times as well, so he could have enough fuel, depending on what lap his last lap pit stop was, could have enough fuel to the very end. It's only 10 minutes to go, so I'm intrigued to see how he goes, but he does got Darren Crosby, who is a very quick man behind him, under 2 seconds. Could it could be a good battle for P1.
Yeah, I feel like we're starting to get down to the nitty-gritty with the last 10 minutes of this 6 minutes race. And the pit stop strategies all coming to where... lost a word. Sorry, it's gone.
It's gone.
Yep, it disappeared. But pit stop strategies have been run. Probably won't see any more for the last 10 minutes. And it will be a battle against Crosby and Weston. Weston up 14 places. Steven Sinkovich up 15 places into P5. If Sinkovich stays there for the rest of this race, he is hands down getting driver of the day.
He's got a big task. He's got Stephen Kennedy behind him. Kennedy's got some really good pace, but you never know. You never know what can happen. As you see the battle on screen right now, Sinkovich just allowed Kennedy to go through. He knows he's quicker. But no, it was good for Steve though. He was being, oh no, is that a puff of flame coming out of his car?
Yeah, I think he needed a pit, so he was one of the last on that pit stop strategy. That is, and look at this. Crosby's already caught the back of Weston. That did not take Crosby long at all.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see if he got fresh tyres, because if he does, he'll be all over him. Like, he's got 130.7 his quickest lap. Then the track temperature slowly going down, giving people with the fresher tyres a bigger advantage. And he just took the lead very easily, didn't he? But you notice Scott Weston's on a complete different strategy. And I think Scott's going to try to stay at the back of Darren, try to fuel save as much as possible. Roughly 8 minutes to go. He's going to do as much as he can to maintain a podium position at the moment. Yeah, Nichols roughly 3.5 seconds behind him, so that should be 2 to 3 laps worth before he catches up to Scott. Interesting as well, Douglas and Kennedy as well, just Also, Douglas would be a time to Nickel. He was right on the bumper before the pit stop, but fallen a little bit off. So I'm intrigued to see if he can recover that time. But now just got to be very careful with Kennedy behind him as well, as you see Darren coming across the start-finish line at 1:31.9, which is his lap time. So yeah, he's got a bit of time, but see him Nickel in P3 to set the quickest lap of the race, 1:30.6, so 1.3 seconds quicker than Crosby. So at this pace, if he maintains that gap, he actually might make a comeback here for P1.
He definitely has a high chance of catching the back of Weston right now. He's really not that far off, and you can watch that gap slowly close. But it is definitely closing down on Weston. Douglas with a great drive, still sitting in P4. It's a great amount of points he's going to got up for grabs here tonight as well.
It's going to be very interesting here. Nickel knows that he's got to be as quick as possible because Jason Douglas is behind him, and Jason he doesn't want to allow Nickel to run away with the podium position at the moment because he's still got to catch up to Weston, and we're not 100% sure whether or not he has enough fuel. So if Scotty Weston made a complete massive undercut, he's up 13 positions at the moment. The safety car might have made a miracle for him. Okay, coming through the last corner now, followed by Kennedy and Vigart. As we see Darren's coming across the start finish line once again, 6 minutes to go, which roughly would equivalent to 4 laps, if I'm not mistaken. So Douglas got his personal best lap of 1:30.7, which is a really quick lap, and Tim Nickel got a 1:30.9. So both Nickel and Douglas is quicker than Darren, but we see a change of pace because Nickel just got in front of Scott Weston for P2, and now Jason Douglas is all over the back bumper of Scott Weston as well. So this is going to be a very impressive battle for P2, and see whether or not Jason can make the move and get Scott Weston as quick as possible to try and put Tim under pressure for a podium position.
Did Scott make a mistake? Did I miss something?
No, I think it's just outright pace.
I think he's let him go a little bit there as well.
Yeah, I think he knows he needs to stay behind the car to feel safe as much as possible. I reckon that's the strategy that he's in. He's not going to go for another pit stop. He's going to try and stay behind as many cars as possible, and yeah, I think he's trying to stay out there as he's come through the last sector now. Hasn't bit the bullet to go into the pits, so
Jace Douglas now right on the back of Weston. Jace has driven so well tonight. Been up in those top 1, 2, 3 battles all evening. Now will make the move. Will he get it done on Weston? He will, to possibly lock himself in for a podium finish, but the other M1 racing car of Stephen Kennedy is barreling down towards the back of Weston as well.
Yeah, Kennedy's definitely trying to push the car as much as possible. Gained over half a second to Douglas in that last lap, so he knows that with 4 minutes to go, he's got to make as much time as possible. And now that Douglas is in clean air, he might have run out of time.
He's going to get himself locked into that P3, so podium finish is still huge.
Yeah, definitely correct on that one. Podium positions for any of these drivers are massive. And, you know, maybe a driver error might happen, and a shake up on the podium can happen. As you see, just Kennedy just trying to make the move and got the move done ASAP on Scott Weston. So he's got 1.5 seconds to chase Douglas ahead of him, and he's got to try and make as much time as possible and make it, you know, competitive for the last podium position. It's amazing, these cars here, almost an hour already, and yeah, it's amazing these V8 supercars, watching it at the Austin Ring. see the battle for P5 and P6 and P7 with Vigor and Hansen coming to the first quarter. But I think these two been stuck like glue. They have not gotten away from each other, no matter what they've done before and after the safety car. So I think Marty's getting a little bit annoyed at looking at the bumper. As you see, he's gone on the outside coming to turn 2. Unfortunately, Vigor to shut the door there, and that allowed Vigor to maintain the position and a better exit as well. So Hansen unfortunately stuck behind him for another lap. And see Cowan as well with Ford in the background.
Cowan's done really well tonight as well. Got himself through a great qualifying session and into the top 10 shootout. Still driven extremely well, keeping himself in that top 10 here. Lots of points on offer tonight, being a 60-minute race. Starting with 150 points for the winner, and then moving 3 points backwards each positioning. So plenty of points to be gained here tonight, and that could really change our standings for next week for the championship round. Scott Weston's in the pits. Weston's in the pits. 1 lap to go. Weston's in the pits.
Yeah, unfortunately the splash and dash had to come out, so I think he did his best to try and stay behind the car as much as possible, get the toe and fuel save, but unfortunately the fuel calculator was correct and had to force him into the pits, unfortunately. As we see Crosby out there in the lead, comfortable lead to Tim Nicol as well.
It's been Crosby's race all night, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. Obviously, he just slowly caught up to Nicol in the first third of the race, and once he got in front, that was it. It's just been all over.
Very, very comfortable. He's just shown how comfortable he is in that car out here at Red Bull. The temperatures have not fazed him at all. He's been able to push a gap from Tim Nicol, who is no slouch either, and just pull himself away from this pack, again creating over a 2-second gap back to P2. Tim,
he's done an awesome job with that, hasn't he?
He has, mate, he has. I think if I gosh, it's so hard. It's like Darren's driven so well, he's sort of very deserving of the driver of the day. Darren's in the pits! Oh my God, what is happening? That safety car threw a huge spanner. This is white flag and Crosby's in the pits!
I got a gut feeling that when the last splash and dash that he's done, he probably didn't put enough fuel in. He's probably underestimated how much fuel he was going to use, and
that's given Nicol the lead. It's been Crosby's race the whole race.
That's just mental until the last lap. I was not expecting him to go into the pitch at all. That's just... yeah, that's bizarre. That's a human error.
I wonder if he didn't realise if it was the last lap. I wonder if he'd just stayed out, if he'd have enough to battle it out to the end. So Tim Nicol is now in P1. We've also got to battle Horton and Cowan as well now.
Yeah, that's for P6 as well. Obviously, getting the advantage of Crosby going into the pitch. That gave them both a position as well.
So Crosby's back out in P8, so he didn't drop too many. He's still going to pick up a good load of points. But wow, oh wow. What a shake up there on the last lap. Where is Nicol now? Coming through the third and final corner. No, ShiBBy, that's wrong.
Third and final sector.
Yeah, third and final sector. Thanks, Tyler. Let's jump on board with Tim Nicol as he comes round the final corner here tonight for round 8 of the simrigs.com V8 Supercars AM series. Tim Nicol will be your race winner for Quantum Pecky's Performance Racing. Jace Douglas from LMR Esports snaps himself another podium finish. And Stephen Kennedy will pull into P3 for the M1 Racing team. Unfortunately, his teammate Darren Crosby will not be joining him as a last-minute pit stop due to fuel calculations. We'll see him finish in P8. what a crazy race here tonight. Good drive from Rick Vigor with Angry Birds Racing to finish up in P4. Marty Hanson, GMK Logistics with a great finish, up 6 spots in P5. Mark Horton will come across the line in P5 and P6 with a great battle with Andrew Cowan sitting solidly where he qualified in P7, hasn't moved. Good drive from him as well. There was your race leader for 90% of this. I would probably even go and say 90%. 95% of this race, your leader was Crosby. Wow, oh wow. Travis Daly, what a great drive for the PSR driver, up 8 spots into P9. And Craig Healy for GMK Logistics will round out your top 10 here tonight.
I'm shocked with that. Obviously once we get Tim in as well, I don't think he would believe that he won that race. Especially with 1 lap to go, and all of a sudden see the leader, championship leader as well, to go into the pits. That's massive.
You know what? Crosby's getting driver of the day.
Yeah, you're happy with his effort?
Oh, mate. Even with that last little mistake at the end, he's just had an outstanding drive, and I feel like he deserves some sort of recognition for how well he's driven tonight.
Yeah, definitely not wrong. I think a bit of candy will brighten his day, to be honest.
It definitely will, mate. It definitely will. That was so unfortunate. That safety car just... Wow, it really shows how much they can throw out the pit strategies. As we see our P1 Tim Nicol for Quantum Pecky's Performance line up on the grid with his fellow drivers, Jason Douglas from LMR Esports in P2 and Stephen Kennedy for M1 Racing. Light it up, lads, light it up.
He's a very happy man with that burnout. I gotta say that's changing event. It's up and down for a few drivers. You know, a couple of drivers had to go back at the back of the pack to get back to the front, but yeah, I don't think Tim Nicol was expecting a victory. Jason Douglas for P2, which was a really strong effort from him as well, and Stephen Kennedy as well. You know, coming back from the back. He's went into the pit 3 times, so 1 extra time than most other boys out there. So he's done an awesome job to recover up to P3 for the final podium. Just waiting for the boys to jump into the green room so we can interview them. I love Cowie. P7 down to P17 and back up to P7. Yeah, no, it was good. Good recovery from him as well.
It was a great drive from Cowie, actually. Really well done tonight, mate. All that practice at Red Bull Ring nabbed you up in that top 10. Lots of points on offer. If we have a quick look at the standings, mate, you are sitting in P11 right now. So those points are going to be a good grab for you tonight, mate. We do have all the drivers in the chat now. We will be starting with our P3 driver. Am I ready for them? I think I might be.
Just waiting for the results to come up.
Results have already been up.
I
beat you to it. Yep, no, I'm just getting ready for podium interviews. 3rd place, Stephen Kennedy for M1 Racing. Mate, Were you stunned to see yourself end up on that podium, or did you know your teammate was going to have to pit at that last second?
I didn't know until the last half a lap when he must have looked down at his calculator and said, I've only got 1 lap left. And he had 1.5 laps to do or something like that. So,
oh, mate, that safety car must have thrown a bit of spanner in the works then from some of the strategies out there.
Yeah, I think it's the calculators, and I was just talking to Timmy then. I think what happened when we calculated 20 minutes, but we didn't add the 2 minutes for after it hits the 20-minute mark. There's another lap, so I don't think we calculated the extra lap after that. But yeah, anyway.
Oh well, mate, it was.
Well, I'd rather not be here. I'd rather Daz be first, but
mate, he still did all right, even with that pit stop. He still landed in the top 10, mate, so he's still going to grab some good amount of points for that.
Oh, he had good pace. It's unfortunate, actually.
It was his race. It was his race all night. He got away and he left the field standing still, and that's what it looked like. But, mate, you drove phenomenally. Gosh, I can't get words out tonight. Yeah, that word. Yep, that'll do. That'll do. You drove extremely well tonight as well, mate. The action was just as exciting as we thought it was going to be. The pack super close with each other. Not too many crazy incidents. A little bit rough through the first 4 laps of racing. But you guys really smoothed it out and started to get into a really nice groove, mate. What was a highlight for you tonight?
Oh, the safety car, actually. I needed that safety car to get back with the pack, so that was probably the best part of the night for me, just bring me back with the pack and get me in the race again, so it was good.
Well done, mate. It was great to watch you all out there battling, and then a few wow moments of just unbelief of how did that just happen.
That's right.
Absolutely well done, mate. On the standings at the moment, you are sitting in P12, so you're going to grab yourself a good amount of points for a podium finish tonight, mate. So it is going to come down to the crunch next week for the championship round.
That'll be good against Timmy and Buddy Daz. They'd have to be close now. They'd have to be sitting on each other's heels again.
Well, it's Circuit Jerez, mate, and 80 minutes enduro.
Yes. It's going to be a big test, isn't it?
Oh, it sure is, mate. Are you quite familiar with Jerez?
Not quite.
Not quite? Well, you've got a week.
Yeah, if I've got a week, I'll have to have a look at the bat. I take a while. I think I've raced it before, but it takes me a couple laps to remember these things. So.
Well, mate, congratulations on a good finish tonight for both you and your teammate Darren. We are going to award Darren the driver of the day just because he just put in an absolute solid effort, and I do believe he needs that recognition for it. So
very unfortunate there.
Yeah, it was. Congratulations to the M1 Racing team. This is Stephen Kennedy from M1 Racing, mate. Please do us a favour and shout out all your sponsors.
Well, we've only got one valuable sponsor, that is M1 Used Cars up at Slacks Creek there, and Daz will do you a deal up there. And I wish I could throw to Daz again this week instead of say I'll leave it up to Daz, but I can't. So, and I'd like to thank you and everyone else for running the league.
Thanks, mate. We do it for you guys, and of course, a lot of us love our sim racing as well. I'm pretty sure everybody on this team has a rig themselves, so it is a bunch of fun, and it's so good to hear all the feedback of how much fun you guys are having out there. It makes us feel good as well.
Okay. Yep. That's great. It's great fun.
Awesome, mate. Well, good luck, and we can't wait to see you out here for the championship round next week.
Okay. I'll be there.
Thanks, mate. Have a good week.
Yeah. See ya.
Excuse me. That was third place, Stephen Kennedy for M1 Racing. We now will move on to second place, Jace Douglas. You can ask Jace a few questions if you like, Tyler.
Easy, you can do that. No, Jace, congratulations on P2 for the race. What was your thoughts? We know that you didn't like the Red Bull Ring. Do you like it now?
A little bit.
No, definitely. I've got to say, that safety car there put you back into the battle. Obviously with Tim Nichols. What was your thought going through your mind, just going side by side?
With Tim, I thought to me, I'll try and get him, and I got him, and then next minute we're switching at the next corner, and I thought, someone's going to get away here, and I thought to myself, what are we going to do? And then I backed out again and went at Tim again, then backed out, got him, backed out again because he got me back, and I thought to myself, you know what, Tim's fast, I know he's a clean racer, let's go together, we'll catch. And next minute, I think it was Darren who was in the lead, had the pit on the last lap, or just before the last lap, and I looked across and thought to myself, let's try and catch Tim to go, but just didn't have the legs, so yeah.
Yeah, definitely the safety car threw some spanners around, and obviously I think that played a massive part for you to come back up in the field as well, because you lost a bit of time to Tim, but do you believe that the strategy worked out really well for you tonight?
Yeah, very much. Like, as soon as Tim said he was pitting over the radio, I was like, okay, I got to pit. We got to do some strategy together, because I didn't know where we'd both pop out, and then next minute we're fourth and fifth, and then third and second, and out of nowhere first to second. So yeah, it was a good strategy.
It definitely was, and obviously, you know, I got to say, to keep a nice clean head as well in the battle between you two as well. You didn't make a mistake, and that was good to see. Obviously, you're driving, getting better and better along the way. So yeah, hopefully it continues on for next week for Jerez.
Is that the last race? Sorry.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, 80-minute enduro race at Circuit Jerez next week for the championship round, buddy.
What, 2 hours?
Yeah, 80 minutes. Yeah, just an hour and 20.
Oh, thank God! It's only an extra 20 minutes. I'm happy.
Mate. Good drive tonight, mate. Congratulations. Solid effort from both the LMR esports drivers out there tonight, but it is all in your hands now to shout out your sponsors.
Yeah, thank you. So we got Lodge Bros, Dubby, NZ Performance, Wayne Boylett Mechanical, Lutsu Driver Performance, Oakmez, Majors Garage, JM Designs, and all the boys at LMR.
Congratulations for tonight's result, and looking forward to see what you can do next week.
Yeah, thank you. I hope I have moved back up in the third spot in the championship. I was kind of annoyed that I was away last week, but it is what it is.
That's fair enough, mate. And yeah, hopefully back up there fighting for the top 3 in the championship.
Yeah, hopefully. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was P2 tonight. Jason Douglas from LMR Esports. And we now will go right ahead and get our first place driver here. Mr. Oh gosh, I get this. Yep, there we go. Bloody hell, fat fingers. Mr. Tim Nicol from Quantum Pecky's Performance Racing, mate. Congratulations on P1 finish tonight.
Oh, thanks, ShiBBy. Oh my God, what an epic race!
It wasn't mate?
I am still pumped as it's just ridiculous. Yes, I think it's that deflation of Crosby's got me, and then I got caught up with Jace and could see him driving off in the distance, and I put higher pressures in the tyres hoping that I could get some pace back in the back of the session, and I'm like, I'm catching him pretty quick here, but I know there's only a couple of laps to go, and then I seen him pull in the pits, and I was like, yeah.
No, I was very surprised, and obviously, to see him go into the pitch on the very last lap, but for you, the battle between yourself and Chase Douglas after the safety car, that was enormous. What was going through your head for that?
Yeah, well, it was quite interesting. So after last round with Cowie, I was at one point going, just maybe let him go and sit behind him. But I knew I had a little bit more pace. It was just a couple of corners that he was out braking me, and I was like, nah, just stick it in there. The tyres will come back, because they just went off for some stupid reason. And I was just like, just don't bin it. But I think the good thing was that iRacing was behaving tonight, and I could feel going into like turn 4 and 5, I could feel Jace coming up the inside, give me a bit of a tap on the rear, and I was like, this is pretty good racing. Just I hope we don't bin it. But yeah, it was just sort of hope and pray that I could sort of get a little bit of momentum and pull away from him, which I sort of did, but he didn't make it easy.
Yeah, it definitely was a good battle, and obviously you capitalised on it. Obviously beating him in that battle, then because of Darren in the lead going into the pitch, that I believe allows you to get yourself in a really good position for the championship coming into next week.
Yeah, I think quickest lap, I'm not sure if we get bonus points on a normal round, but yeah, I was like, I needed to push hard when the temps dropped to get that. Yeah, I needed to claw back some points from Oshgleben or whatever it was called. But yeah, it was, all in all, it was pretty good. That was fun.
It was pretty good. And what's your thoughts on Jerez 80 minutes next week? You all prepared for that?
It's been a while since I've raced there, so we did do that for V8 Vets. It's a harsh track on tyres. It's got elements of Red Bull as well, so some fast flowing sections. So I don't mind it. There's a couple of chicanes that you can come unstuck at, which happened to me the last time I raced there. So I'll be very mindful not to do that. That is for sure.
I'm definitely looking forward to see what you can do next week at Jerez. But obviously, who do you want to thank for with your team for tonight?
Yeah, thanks, Tyler. No, just thank the boys at QPR, and watch out, there'll be a new livery coming soon. But yeah, Troy from Quantum Tint Solutions, Pecky from Pecky's Performance and Dyno Tuning, Dan from West Oz Roofs, weirdo that keeps taking photos of all sorts of weird stuff. Sprint cars this week it's been at Chariots of Thunder. But yeah, you guys broadcast, amazing job as usual. Gives me something to watch during my lunch break tomorrow. And obviously Race Control and the owners of the league. Awesome. And yeah, the sponsors, which is Tempting Treats. I'm yet to get some sweets. How do I get these sweets, ShiBBy?
You're going to get some, mate. Reach out to me after the race with your postal address, mate, and because you are the Podium P1, you will be receiving some, sweets from temptingsweets.com.au. I just got to remember to update the file so when we send it to them, they post it out to you.
All good.
But
all
yes,
good.
mate, you will be receiving some. And if anybody else out there wants to get themselves some, you can use code SRW10 at checkout and get a sweet, sweet deal off those sweet, sweet treats. So yes, huge shout out to temptingsweets.com.au. Mate, great drive tonight. It was another superb race shown by the AMs out there, and I am highly looking forwards to Jerez for our championship round.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of fun, and yeah, condolences to bloody Crosby, who needs to buy a new fuel calculator by the sounds of it.
Oh no. So
hey,
good,
Crosby.
mate.
Crosby. You know you're going to wear this for a whole week, mate.
Only a week? Oh, yeah, I suppose the championship's nearly over, so yeah. A week will do it. Well, guys, I hope you guys are excited as we are, mate. Congratulations. Go and get some rest, get some practice in, and we will see you back here, same time, same place next week.
Thanks, guys. Much appreciated.
And that was our round winner, Mr. Tim Nicol for Quantum Pecky's Performance Racing. An absolute outstanding show of driving here tonight for the simrigs.com V8 Supercars AM Series. This has been round 8 thanks to Warren and Brown Tools for Season 3 here in 2023. I have been Nathan ShiBBy. The man next to me in the comms box has been Tyler Sheaf. And we're going to end this broadcast by saying stay safe and race hard.